Okay. Yeah, that's it. Hi. Are you good news? Mark?
No, I'm just grabbing it for a minute.
We have two sign-up sheets tonight. One is for the regular comment and the other one for the public hearing. Okay. Good evening and welcome to the Ferguson City Council meeting for March to 24th. The opening ceremony meeting is now coming to order. Let us stand for a solemn prayer and the Pledge of Allegiance. The pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Deputy Clerk London, could you please call the roll?
Councilwoman Knowles here. Councilwoman Covington.
Here.
Councilman Castle.
Here.
Mayor Jones.
Here.
Councilman Franklin.
Here.
Councilman Palmer.
Here.
Councilman Williams.
Here.
A quorum is present. At this time, I ask for your motion.
Yes, Madam Mayor, a motion to correct board bill numbers 7331, 7332, and 7333.
Two.
Correct them to 7335, 7336, 7337.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it. The bill numbers are corrected. Right now, we are moved to our public comments. We have 3 minutes for public comments. We ask that you give your name and your address, speak loudly into the mic. You have 3 minutes. The clock is not working. Deputy Clerk London is gonna let you know when your 3 minutes are up. We ask that you stay to your 3 minutes. If you go beyond the 3 minutes, you will hear this. If you still persist on talking, I will have the Assistant City Manager call the police to escort you out. Deputy London.
Stuart Stiles.
Good evening, my name is Stuart Stiles, 227 Bruce Avenue, Ward 2. Just wanted to give some comments in regards to the data center that is being talked about throughout our community. I, as a resident, as a citizen, as a homeowner, I understand that we want to bring in economic development into our area, but with the topic of a data center, it does seem a little sketchy in my opinion. I really do not feel as though that there has been a full report, like an EPA report, because we know the environmental impacts that data centers bring into certain areas. And I am of a firm believer, my mentor said, if you're not at the table, then you're on the menu. And one of our councilmen has actually said that it justified a reason for the data center being in Ferguson because in a low income area. And so my aspect of it being in a low income area, what are those low income families being affected by? Are they just some place that you can just throw off because they're in a certain ward or because they're in a certain low income area? So my question to you all to ponder, even as you all are even still talking about this, is that are these citizens going to be on the menu? Will they be negatively affected? And just because it's not in your specific neighborhood, would this be a different conversation? Because these families are primarily low-income African-American families. And so I am very disheartened and really questioning the motives behind putting it in that particular area. And could we use this area for even better positive area, a better positive type of business? So again, I'm really questioning the fact that one of your councilmen said that it's in a low-income area, so let's do it. And the fact that that's a justification for it being there is actually sickening. And I hope that you all will reconsider or even just have a deeper dive into the research of the impacts of this data center. So at least the citizens and your low income families can feel more comfortable.
Thank you.
Good evening, City Council, Mayor, citizens. My name is Henry Wonderful. My address is 17 Honeywell Drive. I'm a proponent of economic development. I talked about it in the City Hall all the time. But this project Butterfly, based on information, because they didn't share any information, we felt denied the opportunity to ask the developer his plans or their plans. I have a document here that says that they're going to build a $400 million energy power plant. I have a business that does energy power development overseas. People may not know, but I don't have to talk about it. What I want to talk about is if you're going to spend $400 million in the United States to build a power plant, it will be a 130 to 220 megawatts power plant. And that will cost, it takes about 1 watt, 1 gallon, 1 watt per gallon to run that power plant. So if it's 400 million, it's 400 million gallons that you're going to use without boring everybody in details on how you're going to run it. And they told us they're not going to tap into our city waters. Where are they going to get this water from? And also they talked about the fact that they're not going to get into our utility lines. Now, when we built our plant, it's $1 million a mile. An investor will not give you money to 25 miles or 30 miles to build a pipeline to get it from another source when you have it on your compound. The other thing that I want to talk about is the tax and the package of this. When you package a deal like this, they come to meet. We are the meet. They come to us and get tax incentive that they will take to their developer, their financer. So without our financing, this project doesn't go forward. So they get to community like us that don't know what we need to do, not prepared, understand the process, and sell us jobs, jobs, jobs. It is not about jobs. Boeing have offices over there. Only 77 people live in Berkeley that are working for Boeing, when they have thousands of jobs there. So Walmart came in here, job, all these jobs, all this stuff we're doing here, we need to be prepared. We're not ready for prime time if we do this deal. Finally, before I leave, I know I'm running out of time. Also, you cannot appoint your employees after you are already left. I hear you're going to give not anything about the individual, but you give them your duration. If you are a governor, you appoint them for duration of your time. The next governor comes to appoint somebody else. You don't give somebody 8 years, 7 years. That brings a problem to us because they all serve at your pleasure. So this is the stuff that we need to understand. If we don't know it, ask the people that do. Thank you.
Thank you.
Marcia.
Good evening. I'm Marcia Demir Gebhardt, resident of Ferguson, 210 Roberta, for 67 years and counting. Tonight, I'm speaking on behalf of the Ferguson Neighborhood News volunteer staff to ask the city for a plan to increase the amount of informational news and good news provided for publication each month. Standing back there with me are Gary Nadeau, editor, and Bob McCartland, business manager. We were so happy to hear the 4 council members who spoke at the previous council meeting talk about how sincerely they value the existence and the content of the neighborhood news. And that gave us the encouragement to ask for this next step in improving that content. We request a meeting with city staff to plan for increased and regular content contributions and to discuss how our volunteer staff can help put together the newsletters, news articles. We've heard that city staff is busy and it's hard to create the kind of articles for the paper, and we can help with writing, with formatting, with submitting photographs, anything that would be helpful to staff, we would be happy to do. Some examples of content, of course, continuing the excellent contributions from Ferguson Parks and Rec, History Museum, Public Library, out events, such as the wonderful talk by Patricia Washington, Public Information Officer for our police department. Patricia actually credited Proud's announcement of the event in the neighborhood news for attracting 80 people to that event. Talk about our tax dollars at work. So city-sponsored events, updates from the police department, fire department, public works projects, street improvements, speed bumps, etc. Good things happening in our schools. And then how about how to be involved? So news from neighborhood associations, news from boards and commissions, and big news items that people may hear about on regional news outlets like the Post-Dispatch and television networks, such as the $1 Million grant for Plaza 501, but that Ferguson residents might not have heard about. Those are the kinds of things, the discussions and decisions around a data center or what's going on. So let's revitalize the century-long partnership between our city and our community newspaper. Let our volunteer staff collaborate more with the city to share important information and good news with our residents, and we can share the good news through digital versions of the publication with our neighboring communities and with the St. Louis region. So we asked for a meeting with the appropriate city representatives to discuss
Time.
all of this no later than April 3rd. Thanks for listening.
Jill.
Good evening. I'm Jill Holtrup. I live at 100 South Clay. I'm going to read something that I will explain why I'm reading it at the end. I'd like to quote, this is an excerpt from a talk made by Mr. Atkinson, who was the president of the Wabash Railroad Company at the dedication ceremonies of the January Wabash Park, October 1948. He said, in part, in 1883, the Wabash, St. Louis and Pacific Railroad Company obtained a perpetual license to flood 7 acres of this property, in which was known then as the town of Ashland. Who knew? Now the city of Ferguson. In 1910, the Wabash Railroad leased 19.5-acre tract of land, which they had purchased from the January family in 1855, to a group of the employees as a recreational area. This was the start of the Wabash Club. In 1899, the Wabash Railroad purchased approximately 19.5 acres, which was sold to the city of Ferguson in 1948 in order that this beautiful park could be dedicated forever to the promotion of the health and happiness of the citizens of Ferguson. The interests of this community and of the great railroad, which I have the honor to represent, are mutual. Remember, I'm speaking as the president. It has been our privilege to serve your people and your industries continuously since 1855. I'm confident you will all agree that the Wabash has played an important role in the progress and development of this entire area. We have grown up together, blood brothers, each interested in the progress, the welfare, and the happiness of our people. As you dedicate this beautiful park to the well-being and happiness of yourselves and your children, we of the Wabash are justly proud to have a continuing part in contributing to the peace, contentment, and gracious living of this fine city. For almost 100 years, we have shared with you, our friends of Ferguson and St. Louis County, the alterations of prosperity and depression which have visited this city and our country. So as far as I can see into the future, I still see that our fortunes closely linked in a continued mutually helpful and mutually appreciated association with ever-growing intimacy and our cherished friendship for each other. Now, this is me speaking. The reason I wanted to say this tonight is because I personally see many similarities between Ferguson's collaboration with the Wabash Railroad in the last century and Ferguson's potential collaboration regarding under law and their redevelopment that they are calling the Butterfly project of the Emerson campus this century. I hope that you all will approve it.
Thank you.
Adrian. Schlossmeyer.
Good evening, council. Good evening, citizens.
Good evening.
I'm a resident.
Your address?
My address is 709 Forest Avenue, 63135. I am a 36-year resident of Ferguson. I appreciate the opportunity to speak regarding the redevelopment proposal currently under discussion. I understand that the city has adopted and introduced resolution allowing negotiations with SSL Investments LLC. At this stage, many residents are still trying to understand what type of development is being proposed and what potential impact it might be on our community. We respectfully request the city to provide a clear description of the project and conduct independent studies regarding the infrastructure needs, including electricity demand, water usage, natural gas usage, and environmental impact. Residents have also heard a closing date has been referenced for the property transactions, April the 30th, 2026. We hope the city will ensure the community has sufficient time to review the full proposal before negotiations move forward. Ferguson residents simply want to have the opportunity to an independent study the project and participate meaningfully in discussion that may affect our community for many years to come. And this is real. We want to know the impact. We just had homes devastated with natural gas just in our neighboring community. How is the transmission? How are they going to transmit this gas into our community? What safety procedures have been put in place? It's not that everybody's against what's going on. We need to know just more information before any kind of transaction might take place. And I don't think that's too much to, thank you.
Thank you.
Ruben Milton.
Good afternoon.
Hello.
Name is Ruben Melton. I stay in the 2nd Ward, 939 Worcester Drive. My concerns right now are the way the code system of the property is not being upheld. You know, we got people parked, derelict cars in front of their house with the engine out of them, parked in the driveway, jacked up on jacks with no engine, you know, trucks, commercial trucks parked in the front yard with trailers hooked to them, you know, and you call in and, you know, they say, well, we got some calls about that, but they're not doing shit about it. And, you know, I think that, you know, we need to handle that. But, you know, I'm tired of going around and everywhere you go, you see something derelict in the yard. The grass ain't being cut, trash here, trash there. It seems like whoever enforced the codes is not doing their job at all. And I've been calling, trying to get a repair in the middle of my driveway that's in the street. I want to repave my driveway, but I don't want to repave it, and you guys come along and tear it up, fixing the street. So I want the street fixed first. I done made 3 or 4 calls and haven't heard anything. And I just want to know, is it anybody doing anything? When you call City Hall, all you get is an answer machine. And that really pisses me off. Answer machine, answer machine, answer machine. I connect you to an answer machine. I connect you to an answer machine. Do anybody work in the office? You know what I'm saying? So I think stuff need to change. We're getting too modern. We need to go back to basics so people can know what's going on. Thank you.
Thank you. Sir, before you leave, could you leave your information, your contact? You got it? Okay, thank you, Assistant City Manager.
Trina Williams.
Good evening.
Good evening.
My name is Trina Williams. I own a business at 9197 West Florissant. And the name of that business is Thick Chick Fitness. And I'm here to bring awareness to what's going on over there. I opened the business in October 2024 with the mission to create a safe, welcoming space, especially for plus size women to work out without judgment and build confidence through movement. This is more than a business, it's a community. In the beginning, things were going well. However, several issues began to affect my ability to operate safely, including concerns with lighting in the parking lot, snow removal, and overall safety for my clients. Then in December, tragedy struck. Latasha Brown, who played a key role in helping me get there, was murdered along with her daughter. That loss has deeply impacted me, both personally and professionally, while also raising safety concerns in that area. Despite that, I continued to push forward, but in late February, the water began coming up through the floor of my studio. Shortly after that, early in March, the ceiling tiles collapsed due to flooding. At that point, it became unsafe to operate. I have not been able to run my business since the third week of February. My studio is closed. This has been both emotional and financial hardship, and I remain committed to the purpose and to serving my community, which is Ferguson, where the business is. I recently learned about the Revived grant program, which focuses on facade improvement revitalization. While I appreciate that effort, my situation highlights a different need. My business is not in need of cosmetics. It's been forced to close due to structural and safety related conditions that are beyond my control. So my concern or my question is, are there any plans to expand support or introduce economic disaster assistance programs for small businesses such as mine over there on West Florissant? We invest in our community, we serve our community, and in times like this, we need support to sustain and recover. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, ma'am.
Mildred.
Mildred Klein, 7444 Castro. I would like to address a few issues this evening in regards to the former Emerson Electric property. The path of least resistance is the easiest, simplest, or most efficient route to accomplish a task or reach a goal, often by avoiding confrontation, effort, or obstacles. Similar how water flows downhill is how the city council treats its residents, especially in Ward 3, which is where I live. We are marginalized, treated as powerless with no meaningful consideration. Something this big should have been presented in a way where all residents were able to get all of their questions answered. On another issue, I understand a resolution will be read tonight hiring the assistant city manager into the city manager position without an open application search to hire the best qualified applicant. This is the most important position in the city. Why no community input like it has been done in the past? Why a 7-year contract? Why not a 3-year contract for someone who doesn't have a long-term experience or expertise as a city manager? This proves you do not listen to the people of Ferguson. And if you would listen to us, we are pushing back on that data center right there in my ward. And no one has talked to us about it. And like I said, we're the poorest ward. We're the lowest economic poorest ward. And that's how we feel. That's how we feel we're being treated. You know, we could have had a larger menu. It could have been marketed in a way that everybody in this city could have come out. But you all, I feel like you all are pushing this through. And it's not fair to us. And I wish you all would consider. I know some people say they're for it. They don't live in my ward, the ones that saying they're for it. But here's a note. You think it's only going to affect Ward 3? It's going to affect all of Ferguson and Dalewood and Jennings. So I wish you all would take some time. I know that Copeland companies threatening to leave, but it's not all just about Copeland. That's a large space over there. And if we market it right, other people will come, other businesses will come. They're not the only ones, they're not the last one. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Klein.
Richard?
Hello, I'm Richard Buteau, 21 Colchester in the Second Ward. Like many people here, my biggest concern right now is not just the proposed data center, not just proposed tax abatement for that. My biggest concern is the rush. Why are we letting an outside developer tell us that Ferguson must act on their timeline? That is preposterous. That is a sign of contempt for the citizens of Ferguson, and we deserve better than that. Not all citizens can negotiate with them, so we depend on the city council and the city manager to negotiate, but we also depend on the city council and the city manager to first have the interests of Ferguson in mind. And I don't think we're seeing that now. That hearing session where 1 hour is set aside, where pre-approved questions are the only ones asked, again, contempt for the citizens. And we deserve better than that, all of you. We're not getting it and we deserve it just because we are citizens. I ask you please to look around. Why do the very Republican areas of Franklin County, St. Charles, the very Democratic area of the city of St. Louis, then more recently, Festus, why are they all moving to slow down this rush to data centers? What is it? That's not because they're smarter than we are, but are we smart enough to say, what is it we do not yet know that they know? Maybe we have something to learn, and putting this arbitrary deadline on it will keep us from acting in the best interests of the city. And I'm very, very disturbed about that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Jerry Null?
Good evening, council and Madam Mayor. Yeah, that's a change. My name is Jerry Knoll. I live at 1237 Deer Ridge Drive. And before I make my comments, I want to say I agree with what Richard was saying. He had a lot of great points. But based on everything I know right now, in general, I'm actually in favor of Project Butterfly and the redevelopment of the old Emerson campus. I have several reasons.
First, as a 34-year former Emerson employee, I saw firsthand the culture and the quality of the people that work for Emerson and that drove their business practices. And I saw that from the inside. And because of that, I have an implicit trust in Copeland's management and the representations that they've made. Second, the fact that many employees of Copeland and also Mr. Anders' employees will be on the campus. To me, that gives a level of confidence that the campus will not become an environmental disaster. Third, I believe Mr. Ander has a vision with a reasonable chance of success, and Ferguson has the opportunity to share in that success. At the same time that I'm in favor of the project, like a lot of the comments that Richard made, I also think you should walk away from it if you don't get ironclad guarantees, if there's a lot of unanswered questions. And some of the questions that I have might change my mind about being in favor of it. One of my questions is based on the impression given, Madam Mayor, I think by you at the end of last Wednesday's meetings, that unanswered questions submitted by the public will be answered and posted somewhere. So I'm kind of curious as to when that will happen, because I did submit some questions. And so here's two of my submitted questions. I'd like to know the math on the abatements. The 2025 property taxes from the campus, the Emerson campus, based on current assessment and without any abatement, approximately $94,000 went to the city of Ferguson. Approximately $34,000 went to the Ferguson Library. About $334,000 went to the Ferguson-Florissant School District. Approximately $200,000 went to the Jennings School District. So one of my questions is, how will the city of Ferguson and the library have a net positive gain, which I've heard stated? Will there be a net positive gain starting in the first year with the tax abatements in place? I'd like to know the math, how that's going to work out. And secondly, will the other taxing bodies for the campus, which are Ferg-Flor School District, Jennings School District, the Special School District, the County Health Fund, Ferguson Roads and Bridges, and many, many other taxing districts, will they have a positive net thing? Was that my time? Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Jerry.
Robin? Jackson?
Good evening. My name is Robin Jackson. I reside at 917 Noah Drive. I'm coming to ask for help, please. Oh, Lord, and I get emotion. I've been living in Ferguson, speak highly of Ferguson too. I've been living in Ferguson since 2010. I purchased my home in 2010. In 2025, I was forced to come out of my house due to my neighbor with infested with, I'm pretty sure you all are aware of it. It made the news. Wildlife, raccoons, possums. They have torn my house completely up. I'm afraid to live in it. I moved with my father. I pay taxes in Ferguson. I pay a mortgage in Ferguson. And I have yet to be able to reside in my home. And that's not fair to me. Now, Ferguson, I know you all isn't good. I would buy more property in Ferguson. But it's not fair to me that I have to live somewhere else. No family wanted to come and visit me. I bought this house because I thought it was beautiful for me and my grandchildren. I have about 30 grandchildren. I picked it for the backyard and everything. We can enjoy it. Now, not only is it eating my house up, they done tore my roof up, they done tore my garage up, they starting to eat the back of my house. Now, when I go there, I'm seeing rats, like rats as big as us. Like literally, it's not healthy for me due to my health. They were coming in my backyard. I see that you all are doing work over there, but it's not fast enough. My neighbor next door to me, my cry go out for them too, because they are elderly and they need help in this condition. It's unhealthy for them, and it's also unhealthy for me and my family. I also, had to go to the courts to get a report of protection because I was threatened. I'm scared to go to my house because he's threatened to harm me and my family. All of this has been documented. I didn't call, I didn't cry, I didn't kicked. I mean, it's nothing. I didn't pray. At this point, I'm just giving it to God. So I ask you all to take me under consideration. Help me get back into my home. Help this family over here because it's not fair. I see that you are doing work and you have, and it's just a wildlife. They starting to bring stuff back into the front yard where y'all had them to remove all of that out the front. They bringing it again. Y'all never had them to hit that back. If you hit that, my time is up. I'm sorry. Please, Ferguson, help me, please.
Leave your information with the assistant city manager. You're closer to him than what you are to the city clerk at this time.
Okay.
So see the assistants.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Lorraine McGregory.
Good evening,
evening.
council members, Mayor Ella Jones. My name is Lorraine McGregory. My address is 930 North Elizabeth, 63135. I'm here again, petitioning for a home daycare. There had been ongoing concerns about parking. And I think that has been basically the only concerns that you guys have had. And I want to let you know that I have eliminated parking on Plantmore altogether. So I have a car parking in the front of my home that for the last 2 weeks, my parents has been parking in the front and coming through the front. Before they were coming through the back. So I'm not going to be before you long. I just wanted to show you the parking where my parents come in and park. There's a 3-car garage, 3-car driveway here where they will be parking and going back out. So I have just submitted, I'm going to submit to each one of you all. I've made a document for each one of you all to view and let you know that I have completely eliminated parking on Plantmore. And for the safety of the children, I will not have any congestion up there and make any more problems that are already up there. Thank you.
Leave whatever you have with the deputy clerk. Thank you, ma'am.
Toffer.
What's up? I am Christopher Sudlick. I live at 6737 Charlie Dooley. People call me in Northwoods, people call me Topher. They generally know me as an organizer, but I'm also an engineer. And when it comes to data centers, these are massive machines, especially these hyperscale data centers. They use immense amount of power. They drive up utility bills. They use immense amounts of water, and there's almost no ways to avoid all of those problems, not to mention the heat island effect, air quality, and everything else. And however you do it, there's going to be risks, there's going to be problems. And what we've seen time and time again around the country is that these agreements and plans don't really end up being protective, and they don't really end up being enforceable. And towns end up not enforcing them. So people are not getting the benefits out of these deals that they're supposed to. And that's an enormous problem. Beyond that, I want to talk about the Emerson complex. The Emerson complex used to house companies like Nidec. And when they gave this presentation last week, they told us that all of these firms had just fled the complex. Copeland was desperate for people to come in. But when I worked at Nidec, they told us that the rents had been raised dramatically and that Copeland was forcing them out through incredibly high costs. So the story that we're being told doesn't match the story of reality. This is going to affect my neighborhood. It's going to affect all of the surrounding neighborhoods and towns. and they're not going to get the same benefits that Ferguson gets, if Ferguson even gets any benefits at all. So, you know, whether or not the city council is going to listen to us, and some of them don't look like they are, I think all of us in the town should come together and start organizing together, talking to each other, talking to our neighbors, writing petitions, and doing all that kind of work so that we can build community and build the organization necessary to make sure that whatever deals do get struck, we can make sure they're enforced, and we can make sure the people of this town are protected from abuse, predators, etc. So if you'd like to be a part of that, please see me after the meeting, sign up to volunteer, and I'll see what I can do to help get all of you organized. Thank you.
Sandra Butler.
Cassandra Butler, 12 Caldwell Court. Hello, everybody. So, couple of items. Last week, two weeks ago, I asked the council where we were on the consent decree budget. I know that, you know, last year you cut it in half and said you would look at it, the other half in January. And so as I prepare my statements for the judge Thursday morning, I'd like to have some information. From what I can tell, I don't see that second half of the budget has been restored. So I would like some feedback on that. So that's that. So next I want to talk about the Emerson property. You know, I can see Mr. Anders' vision, and I think it could be the best use of the property. But we don't have enough information to know if it's even feasible or, you know, how much risk is involved. In order to know this, we need more information. Just a sprinkling of the additional information we need would be, what are the financials? What needs to happen for this to be financially healthy without tax abatement or tax incentives? Also, I'm very concerned about, about Copeland, because now Copeland is 100% owned by Blackstone. So we really need to know more about Blackstone. What if Blackstone sells Copeland, which it does with companies that it owns? Will Copeland be bound to remain a tenant, whoever it's sold to? And how long does it needs to be a tenant? Is that guaranteed? If Blackstone sells Copeland, will it be, I don't know the relationship of Copeland and the data center. I'm thinking that the data center is part of Copeland. So are they, if Blackstone sells Copeland, will it be decoupled from the data center and sold off to someone else? Will the data center be someone else's property? And if what restrictions will we have then? So even though I can see Mr. Anders' vision, if Blackstone isn't brought into the conversation, what assurance do we have that their motivation for profit will not mess us up? So, and also, like Jerry said, when will we have the answers to the other questions we've asked? Thanks.
Thank you.
That's all.
That's it. Ooh. Public comments are now closed. We move to the manager's report. At this time, City Manager Hampton is ill, and Assistant City Manager Dave will take his place.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Council. The only thing we have tonight for the manager's report is we are inviting Corey Gilbert, our Public Works Director, up to give a presentation about our progress with our streets and other projects we're working on tonight. So, Corey, if you'd like to come on up.
Good evening, Mayor. Good evening, Council.
Good evening.
I just want to give some updates about
where we at with our street projects, with our grants, CIP funding, where we allocate these funds and the streets that we've improved since 2022. First, I want to start with the CDBG, Community Development Block Grant funding. The city was matched those funds, bringing the total investment for street improvements to $945,000 in 2022. During the evaluation process, 13 streets were selected. Of those streets, 8 streets received environmental clearness. 6 of the 8 streets are located in Ward 3. 2 streets cleared was in Ward 1. Those are the streets that was improved in Ward 3 and in Ward 1. Approximately 90% of the CDBG funds are allocated to Ward 3 based on eligibility and program requirements. We still have $103,000 remaining in our Ferguson CDBG account designated for streets. So Superior Drive and South Marguerite, those streets have already been environmentally cleared. So I'm thinking we'll try to improve those streets before September, October this fiscal year. Also, CDBG has they're no longer giving municipalities funds on 1-year basis, which is a good thing. We were one of the first municipalities that they gave 3 years funding up front. So we did a good job there. So they're awarding us 3 years from here on out. Me and myself and Ms. Jackie, we're in the process of filling out for that 3-year cycle right now. That's it with the CDBG stuff. Let's talk about the 23-24 upper funds and what we did with those funds. 23-24, the city allocated $3 million towards street improvements. I formulated a two-phase plan. I went around, I said, okay, well, let's do some street slab replacement. Let's do some mill and overlay in 2 different phases, all right? So I went around to Ward 1, selected the worst of the worst slabs. So we approved 133 slabs in Ward 1, 68 slabs in Ward 2, and 20 slabs in Ward 3. That may not look like a lot in Ward 3 because a lot of the CDBG funds was allocated to Ward 3, and those are also concrete-based streets. All right. So moving on. So again, sorry. That part of the phase of the project was $1.2 million of the $3 million that was allocated to street improvements. And I did that without any design group or anything like that. So that saved the city maybe $150,000 to $200,000. The second part of that, this plan was a mill and overlay, some curb and gutter reconstruction. So if you can see in Ward 1, those are the streets that we did improvements to. Chalet Drive, Millman, Bayview, Fenwick, Renshaw. The total construction cost in Ward 1 for improvements was $646,169.00. Ward 2, those are the streets that was improved. The total cost of construction was $537,154.00. In Ward 3, those are the streets that was improved in Ward 3 with ARPA funds. The total cost of construction was $823,219.00, bringing the total construction cost of $2,542,000. So that's where our ARPA funds. This is where the money was allocated to each ward. Moving on to 26, our capital improvement project. This project is almost complete. Ward 1 didn't receive any funds, right? This is not about what ward get what. This is about the city. This is about us grading streets. This is about us coming up with a list, formulating a plan, and doing the worst of the worst streets first. Ward 2, these are the improvements that was made in Ward 2. These are the streets. Total construction cost for Ward 2 was $846,977.22. Ward 3 improvement includes St. Louis Avenue. When you see concrete stabilization, it may not seem like a lot. We replacing slabs because at some point we're just gonna just mill and overlay them and be done with them. I mean, they'll be strong for the next 10, 15 years. We don't have to worry about it for a while. Total construction cost for the CIP this fiscal year is $1,178,978.38, and that's without a design group. So I formulated this plan with myself and the construction company, and we just went out and scaled back on some things and say we'll do this, we'll do that, and this is where we at. I think we did a good job. North Margaret Reed looks really good. That was a street that I feel those people didn't have curb gutter, none of that stuff. Now they can, the water is actually reverted down to the sewer inlets. So the total combined of costs and money allocated to each ward for street improvements since 2022. Ward 1 received $646,169.00 for street improvements. Ward 2 received $1,384,131.22. Ward 3 received $1,145,229.16. Again, since 2022, the total number of streets that have been improved is 63 total streets. That's including 4 STP streets and 2 in the making. So I think we're doing a good job. I think we're trending in the right direction. If we continue to allocate funds towards street improvement, I think we're doing a good job, right? I want to thank the council. I want to thank the city manager. I want to thank the mayor for trusting me and doing my job. And I think I've done that. We also, as far as STP projects, again, I can't do everything without a design group, right? But sometimes we have to have a design. We have to have an engineer, right? But I can't control those things when it comes to STP projects. We have to follow guidelines, right? The city can't, well, who we select as our engineer. And a lot of times when we put those things out, we may get 1 or 2 design groups. And a lot of times it's always whites. But since 2008, White's Design have cooped a number of $15,709,147.23. That's tremendous. That's a lot of money just for street improvements. We have 2 in the making right now, and 2026, 2027, we'll be going to get another maybe $2 or $3 million towards Woodstock. All right. Any questions for me?
Any questions? Councilwoman Noel.
Okay. And the first one is, what did you just say? You said something about Woodstock.
Yes.
I didn't see it on the presentation. Can you repeat it? I didn't hear you.
So 2027, we'll be filling out an application for STP grants for improved Woodstock.
Okay, let me write that down. STP for Woodstock. Okay. The next question is, Corey, can we receive a copy of that presentation to share with residents?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you for the presentation, and I think we are trending in the right direction. The next question is regarding Harrison. Harrison was not on the original list that was given to us on November 18th. I see that street was added, which is great. I was happy to see that. I just wanted to say thank you all for that, and let's keep moving in the direction. St. Louis Avenue, the slab replacement, which was part of the presentation. I spoke with some residents on St. Louis Avenue, and they questioned though, because certain areas of the street still has some holes. So are we going to fill those holes?
Yeah, so we'll crack seal those holes. Again, like I said, the plan is in the future to overlay that street. We're trying to stabilize it right now and just overlay and be done with it.
Okay. Overlay. So overlay, because I'm not, as educated on street repairs as you are. So overlay would consist of, I mean, you've done the slab replacement, just filling in the holes with asphalt or
It'll be resurfacing the street with black asphalt.
resurfacing the street with black asphalt, and that could happen next year sometime, or
Yeah.
you don't know yet?
I don't have a,
Okay, well, in the meantime, do we have a plan to fill the holes just to smooth the street out?
yes.
Okay, because it looks a lot better. It's just certain areas of the street, about 5 or 6 areas. Let me see. The speed hump on Meadowcrest. Do you know when the street will receive that speed hump or the
Should have
speed
it
hump?
there. You should, it's.
Are they there? Okay, I haven't been on Meadowcrest, but no residents have, I
the
haven't.
Constituents did tell you that?
No, I was on Meadowcrest about 2 weeks ago. Unfortunately, no one has relayed that. But I was going to check when I went to the Forestwood meeting that we have every second Tuesday. So I'm asking for clarification, not for, you should have shared that with me, Councilwoman. You live in the Forestwood neighborhood. I don't. All I would like to say is, we are still looking forward to more street repairs. I have received concerns from residents on LC, Etna, Grove, Minert Manor, Edge Hill, Elliott, and then the pothole filling too. Are you all gonna put out a schedule for filling potholes? I mean, being that the
That's the
weather's
schedule.
changing,
You just do it as needed.
you just do it as needed, cause I have,
We make a list
You all-
in-house. We'll make a list in-house. And if you have concerns, I encourage them to just call and we'll put it on the list.
okay, so, and I hear that, and I do encourage residents to call, but sometimes they'll call the council person, or when we have the neighborhood meetings, and I have shared that with the city manager, so there is information that has been given to the city manager.
Yeah, we just have to keep budgeting for this stuff and we'll just keep grading our streets and we'll keep making a list of streets and we'll keep improving our streets. That's all we can do.
Okay, thank you.
Councilman Palmer.
Did you mention in this year's CIP, did you say that you didn't have Ward 1 roads? Because I did see some on there.
We did, is it Ward 1? I don't know if through the maps that we have.
Yeah, because Hutton, Thatcher, Robert, those are Ward 1, so you did actually do some.
We did actually do something.
Yeah, it disappeared.
From the maps that we have, it doesn't state that they're in Ward 1. It actually states that they're in Ward 2.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah, it appears you did actually do some roads
Yeah,
in all the
definitely.
wards, so. I will say, driving around town, I do drive most of the city quite often. In the last 3 or 4 years, we've really funded some massive road efforts, especially with the ARPA funds.
Yeah.
It appears to me, you can correct me if I'm wrong, we are kind of getting caught up on replacement.
Yes.
One thing I am noticing is that some of our road work that was done 12 to 20 years ago is the overlays are developing some spotty potholes and such. Is it from what I've experienced and learned, this is the time now where we can look at doing some minor patching and maybe possibly like a chip seal or like an overlay, like a smaller, thinner overlay that would maybe get us 10 or 15 more years out of that road instead of 5.
Sure.
Is that something that you think that you are looking at, or we probably should be looking at for the next couple fiscal years?
We should be looking at it because of the strength of the material that they're using now. It lasts longer. So we should be looking at
Like
it.
I know when I drive over in like the Lang-Royce area, a lot of that road work is you're starting to see some potholes appearing here and there. But if you go in and wedge those repairs in and then chip seal the whole street, it can bring a lot more longevity. I mean, look at Hudson Road. I mean, that was chip sealed like a decade ago and it still looks pretty good. So
Absolutely correct.
I would definitely encourage you to do some homework if you haven't already and talk maybe to, I think Weiss has some experience with that too. They might have some leads on what that cost is. I think it's significantly less than a full mill overlay.
Sure.
Okay, thank you.
Councilman Franklin.
Good evening. Thanks for your presentation. A couple of questions. Right at Marcel Court.
Yeah.
Cul-de-sac right off Olympia. Are there any plans to resurface that small stretch of road because it's in poor condition?
I definitely can put it in the plans.
Okay.
I'll take a look at it.
Appreciate it. And then lastly, I kind of already sent this over to Dave, but just wanted to bring to your attention. I got a complaint before I came into council chambers about the blacktop over on Clark between Spring and Airport Road. The residents are saying that there's a mess, oil stains. And
They're not
uneven.
done. They're not done. They have to come back and do their cleanups and stuff like that. So they're definitely not done.
We got a timetable for them to come back out for that, or
I think they'll start their, backfilling and stuff like that maybe next week.
next?
I'll definitely pass those concerns along though.
Appreciate it.
No problem.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Anyone else? First of all, I would like to say, number one, Corey, with the Community Development Block Grant, the CDBG, that is governed by the census data, and it's mostly in Ward 3. But one thing I really want to commend you on is that you went to the county and said you could not work with 1 year
Yeah.
at a time, and you negotiated for them to give you 3 years at a time.
Yes, ma'am.
And I must commend you for that, simply because since you went to county and got 3 years at one time, now the rest of the municipalities are following your act. And I just appreciate you doing that, because not only you made a difference with the funding coming into Ferguson, but you have led the way for other municipalities to get 3 years at one time. I must commend you for that. Number two, since you've been the Public Works Director starting in 2022, STP's the Standard Transportation Project. They are a federal government project that comes through East-West Gateway. You have brought more monies to the city of Ferguson through the STPs, through East-West Gateway. I must commend you for that. The work that you are doing and the work that you have submitted to East-West Gateway. I applaud you for what you do. And I do know you always downtown talking to the executive director of East-West Gateway. And I must commend you for what you are doing, because other municipalities are calling you and asking you how you getting so many STP projects done. So that's what I want to share with you. You have done a phenomenal job. Public Works is doing a phenomenal job. During the snow period, we had a luncheon for you and the guys, and Norma Snowden. They were very appreciative. Residents pitched in, and that's our way of saying thank you for what you are doing. So I just want to commend you. A lot of times people don't even know what an STP is and the CDBG money. Thank you for leading the way. Appreciate you. City Manager, do you have a report or would like to share?
I just wanted to acknowledge Corey's presentation as well. Corey's been in that role going on 3 years now, and it's night and day as far as how he presents to you guys, speaks to you guys, and I just saw a lot of progress. So Corey, thank you for that. It's very well done. I also wanted to thank council. There was a time period 5 to 7 years ago where we were only funding capital to the tune of about $250,000 for street repairs. So kudos to council as well for making a concentrated effort to really hit these streets and hit them hard. If we hadn't made that change several years ago, we'd still be where we were and not being able to repair these roads and still getting further and further behind. So thank you, council, for that vision, and I hope we continue that in the future. So that's all I have. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. The next, the manager's report is closed. The next item on the agenda is a public hearing. Assistant City Manager.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Council. Our public hearing this evening is for Somerset Park. We are bringing this in front of you because the owners are seeking lot consolidation to build single-family homes. Planning and zoning has approved this. Tonight is the public hearing. The ordinance for first reading will be on the agenda later this evening. But at this time, we'll just turn it over to our Deputy City Clerk and see if there's any public comment, if that's okay with you.
Public comments.
Tony, knitting.
Good evening. My name is Tony Knittick. I represent Country Tech Homes. We're the proposed builder for the villas. We want to build 21 maintenance-free villas there in Somerset Park. What we're doing is doing changing the lot density there, going from smaller lots and instead of doing row houses or townhomes, doing single-family villas. 14 will be attached, 7 will be detached homes. Matt Poston's also here with THD Design. He's handling the engineering for the project. All we're doing is changing really the lot boundaries. No infrastructure is being changed on the project. And we're looking for your final approval, and I appreciate the time to be here.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else?
Adrian Shropshire.
Good evening, council,
Good evening.
citizens. This matter came through planning and zoning, and this is one of our easy projects. I know I've been talking about needing homes built, townhomes. We need to get some homes built in the area. And this is a good project. And to my understanding, they're ready to go. They want to get going ASAP. And there was no public disagreement with this happening in their subdivision of Somerset. We had no one come with any petitions. And to my understanding, they are for it. The land has been sitting for quite a while. And this is one project that I think planning and zoning did their due diligence with this time. And I would like to see the council speed up and get this project going if possible. This is just my recommendation from the advisory board. Thank you.
Thank you.
Marshall Watkins.
Hello, council members, Mayor Jones. I am Marshall Watkins III. I am the president of Somerset Park Homeowners Association. I would like to say that a lot of our members, I've talked to a few of them in the association in Somerset Park, that they are interested in having this development go forward. I know we've talked a little bit, the rest of the board have talked to the development company briefly about this. We're looking to have more conversations going forward. There's still a lot I say that we don't know as of right now. The only thing that I say that I have a concern of so far is that the plat map on the proposal has the numbers of the consolidated lots, and those lot numbers are actually duplicates of the lot numbers that were already in our subdivision. Lots 1 through 21 already exist there, and so one thing is that affects our indentures. Those are going to have to be updated based on these new lot numbers, and also that plat map that currently describes our subdivision is going to be updated as well. And I want to make sure that there is no issues with that plat map where there's duplicated numbers for the lots that are within our subdivision. So I'd like to make sure that that's handled. Maybe a discussion is held with the board as far as getting the correct numbers in there, or making sure that numbers that make sense for the entire subdivision are used for that lot consolidation area. And as far as I know for now, that's the only issue. We haven't seen any floor plans yet. We've told that's still the architect, so that's something we're also looking forward to seeing. But we do look forward to staying in communication with the developer and with the city on making sure that this is going according to plan. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Yes, Matt Poston.
Good evening, Matt Poston, TSD Design Group. Our address is 148 Chesterfield Industrial Boulevard, Suite
We can't
E.
hear.
Matt Poston, THD Design Group. Address is 148 Chesterfield Industrial Boulevard, Suite E, Chesterfield, Missouri. We are looking to, as Mr. Nitting said, to reconfigure 21 of the lots in this subdivision to fertilize housing in this area. Fortunately, in this scenario, we actually ran into a place where we didn't have to wind up relocating a ton of utilities, which usually winds up happening in this scenario. we are simply looking for approval from the council, so that we can get the planning finalized. Mr. Watkins, yes, I recognize as well, sitting out in my car this afternoon, the numbering is incorrect. If you have recommendations on the numbering that you'd like to have, we'd certainly be willing to speak with you about that. We want planning to be 100% correct as well. It is a legal record document that actually converts the land.
Thank you.
That's all I have.
That's all. Council, Councilman, Castle, Councilman Castle, Councilwoman Noon, and Councilman Palmer.
Okay, several items. First of all, a question for the city attorney. If what past planning and zoning has incorrect lot numbers on it, can we just go ahead and, can we change it and move forward? Or, what we have for first reading at the moment is wrong.
I'd be happy to take a deeper look at that, but I believe as part of a condition of passing, you can impose conditions, and maybe renumbering the lots to be in accordance with current subdivision would be a reasonable condition you can impose.
So it's okay.
Well,
Yeah.
I believe
Okay.
if you believe it needs to be changed, I believe you could do that while still passing the subdivision. As
Okay, yeah, that needs to be timely. I had talked with Apollo at one point, and it's too late tonight, but he indicated that it is at the council's option whether to do these as a resolution or a bill. And so in the future, I don't know what you all's timeline is, but in the future, if we've got something that's completely non-controversial and we want to move it forward more quickly, we can do it as a resolution and get it done one meeting sooner. And if we have a public hearing with no opposition, our ordinances specifically say that we can vote on it at the same meeting as the public hearing. So this could have been done tonight if we had done it as a resolution, and we need to remember that in the future. And I finally, I have one more procedural issue that, and I don't know what we need to do about this, but according to the documents I have, this passed planning and zoning in a meeting on February the 17th. I looked on the city website at the agendas that were posted for the planning commission, and we have an agenda for February the 5th and an agenda for March the 17th. We do not have an agenda posted on the city website for February the 17th, and neither of those other agendas include this item. So I don't know whether we posted something at City Hall and we're going to call that good enough, but as of right now, it wasn't posted on the website. The planning and zoning hearing wasn't posted at all. So I don't know what the implications of that are. Also, as a matter of procedure, we probably should have accepted the minutes of the meeting before we had the public hearing, because we haven't officially been notified that it passed planning and zoning. So I'm just trying to keep things in order here. I 100% support the project. I would vote for it as a resolution and pass it tonight if that was before us, but we need to do these procedural things correctly, please.
Councilwoman Noel?
Thank you, Mayor Jones. My question is for the developer. Can you provide us with the cost that you all are going to price each villa for sale?
Well, we're not to that point yet. Until these footprints are approved at this size, we haven't really developed the plans yet. And the market is changing, pretty quick right now, especially with interest rates and all the chaos going on. So we want to clear this hurdle first before we take the next step and start working on some architectural renderings and some plans, and then we can get them bid out and kind of priced. But it'd be whatever the market's going to dictate there. Obviously, we want to sell houses. So whatever that market's going to call for, that's what going to be our sweet spot.
Councilman Palmer?
I also have some questions for the developer as well.
Come on back.
Sir, how long has Country Tech Builders been in business for?
Since 2015, we're a family business. It's my father, myself, and my son. My father's been in business since 1962, and he's still active with the business. We started Country Tech back in 15. We've always been a builder, but formed a corporation because we started to get into some developments. We're currently building just 5 minutes from Somerset at Wild Ridge Estates, right across the other side of 270 and Blackjack. It's a 40-lot development there, and we're about 80% built through it. We have some active houses under construction. We also have a display home there that you can visit anytime. You can do a self-guided tour if you like. If you'd like that info, just send me an email address. I can get you the address to it. Take a look at it. It's only 5 minutes away from here.
I actually drove through there. Approximately how many homes do you guys build per year since 2015?
2024 was 42, and last year we're at 20.
And do you build on site or do you use like a prefabricated panel system?
No, these are all stick built.
Okay. Now I do have a question for Matt with THD, if that's possible.
It's okay.
How you doing?
Pretty good, how are you?
Good. I went through a very basic boundary adjustment lot consolidation, and it took an eternity for Mike Bovacanti to take care of this for me at St. Louis County. If it takes you as long as it took me to get this done, will that delay the construction of these homes on these lots?
So St. Louis County does have some strict review times. Fortunately for us, works similar in an MZA as far as that. Recording of the document, we have to meet St. Louis County's recording requirements, which we do on a regular basis. We record several plats every year.
Right, because I took my Mylar down, it was recorded, adopted by council, it took them like 18 months to actually, and it took even more months to get GIS updated, which caused great havoc with my lender.
The GIS updating is very bad. I fight with that frequently myself. We have to provide addressing for a lot of things up front. Getting that response back is difficult. I haven't seen right now with another plat we have going on through St. Louis County. I've actually received very good response from their survey department, part of their public works department, from James Giolitti is the new surveyor in charge of their department. He has provided review in a timely manner.
Okay, I just wasn't sure if making the lots larger, if it ends up being that a new home lands on a lot line, is that going to cause issues with survey coverage if someone goes to buy that home?
So it would. Obviously, you know, if you're going to get survey coverage when you get a loan for your title company, any sort of encumbrance, so on and so forth, would throw a red flag to the lender at that point. The purchase of the lot would be based on the record plat itself. That plat actually changes the current boundary line to the new current boundary line and rewrites the general warranty deed for that piece of ground.
Right, so the title company could possibly just extend coverage based on the recorded plat, even though it doesn't show up in GIS quite yet.
Yes. So as long as the plat is a legal recorded document, and that is what governs the ground, what is actually written and recorded within the county's records is what dictates your physical property. GIS itself is actually merely just a reference tool. A lot of people like to try and use GIS for many things, and really it's a tax database is what it is.
So is your surveyor re-subdividing the entire, are they going to file a re-subdivision of the entire plat or just those plots?
So it's just going to be those particular lots. It'll be re-subdivision of lots, I believe it's 96 through 99 and 119 through 139 is the lots that are actually changing configuration. We were able to keep any lots that had utility easement along any corridor. We kept that common property line in place and worked our way out from those to avoid utility relocates, et cetera.
Right. So when it comes to the numbering, the legal description will reference the re-subdivision plat recorded on this date in 2026,
Yes,
which would clear up any kind of errors.
Yes.
But it would probably make sense to try to maybe number them where they're not, there's not
Yes,
27 here.
No, that's embarrassing. I talked to our tech about making sure they get the numbers updated.
It shouldn't be too hard to fix.
No, that will be fixed in 10 minutes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Public hearing is now closed. We move to our consent agenda. We have city council meeting minutes, special council meeting minutes for February the 19th, work session meeting minutes for March the 3rd, and regular council meeting minutes for March the 10th. I'm requesting a motion in a second to approve meeting minutes.
Madam Mayor, I have another motion first. For the March 10th council meeting, the approval of the liquor license for Good News Brewing. I don't remember who made that motion, but the minutes say it was Councilman Bowman. Okay. So I would like to move to amend that to council. Okay. Let's please amend that it was moved by Councilor Noah then.
Okay,
I'd like to move that, or do we just,
we can approve the minutes with the necessary.
okay. I
Correction.
move to approve the minutes with the amendment of the motion as I just stated.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it. Minutes are approved. We move to boards and commission meeting minutes. We have minutes for Ferguson Special Business District for January meeting on the 28th and February meeting on the 25th. Planning and zoning meeting minutes for February the 17th. The CRB meeting minutes for February the 2nd. And Economic Development Sales Tax meeting minutes for February the 5th. I request a motion in a second to receive and file the commission meeting minutes.
So moved with the note that there is no agenda posted for the February 17th Planning Commission meeting.
Second, Noah. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it. We don't have any appointments for tonight. We don't have requests. We have a proclamation tonight for the Women History Month for March 26th. And the theme is Leading the Change, Women Shaping a Sustainable Future. I had been making presentation to women in this community who have made a difference. And for the March 2026, we have the Honorable Linda Lipka, the Honorable Heather Robinette, the Honorable Fran Griffin, the Honorable Laverne Mitchell, Citizen Pamela Hartley, Professor Shirley Emerson, and Marcia Parks of Hoosman Realty. They will receive their certificate in the April 21st meeting, and Ms. Jill will do the remarks. The proclamation read, whereas Women History Month is celebrated each year during the month of March to recognize and honor the vital contribution, achievements, and leadership of women throughout history. Whereas women have played an essential role in shaping our nation, state, and local communities through their leadership in government, education, healthcare, business, the arts, science, and civic engagement. Now, therefore, I, Ella Jones, Mayor of the City of Ferguson, along with the City Council and the citizen of Ferguson, do hereby recognize the month of March 2026 as Women History Month and call upon the people of Ferguson to observe this month with appropriate programs, activities, and reflections to continue our shared efforts to create a community that is more inclusive, equitable, and prosperous for all. Thank you. We move to resolution number 2026-06 without objection to introduced by Mayor Jones, Councilman Franklin, Councilwoman Orr, Councilman Cassoff, Councilwoman Covington. There are no objection. We'll move to Attorney Ryan. Could you please read the resolution?
Thank you, Mayor. A resolution authorizing the city of Ferguson's participation with the Missouri Department of Transportation for traffic enforcement grants to enhance public safety.
Assistant City Manager.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Council. As the memo stated, this is just a grant to help fund with staffing as well as equipment for the police department. If there's more questions, more than happy to answer them.
I'm requesting a motion and a second for approval.
So moved.
Deputy Clerk, please call the roll.
Councilman Cassoff,
Aye.
Councilwoman Noah. Aye. Councilwoman Covington,
Aye.
Mayor Jones,
Aye.
Councilman Franklin,
Aye.
Councilman Palmer,
Aye.
Councilman Williams.
Aye.
Resolution number 2026-6 passing. We move to resolution number 2026-7. Without objection, it to be introduced by Mayor Jones, Councilwoman Covington, Councilman Cassoff. Hear none. Attorney Ryan, please read the resolution.
A resolution of the city of Ferguson authorizing the city manager to enter into and execute a contract with Spencer Contracting for emergency repair for Firehouse 1 ramp damage.
City Manager.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Council. This is an emergency repair / change order for the repair to the rear ramp at Firehouse 1. The ramp is deteriorating from the heavy trucks as well as salt and weather conditions. Total repair cost is going to be a little over $32,000. We're just looking to do a change order with our current contractor to be able to complete this.
I request a motion and a second for approval.
So moved.
Second, let me Covington.
Deputy Clerk, please call the roll.
Councilman Cassoff,
Aye.
Councilwoman Covington,
Aye.
Councilwoman Noah. Aye. Mayor Jones,
Aye.
Councilman Franklin,
Aye.
Councilman Palmer,
Aye.
Councilman Williams.
Aye.
Resolution number 2026-7 passes. We move to resolution number 2026-8. Without objection, introduced by Mayor Jones, Councilman Franklin, and Councilman Cassoff. Hear none. Attorney Ryan, please read the resolution.
Resolution approving the purchase of real estate located at 1 Burdell Court, authorizing a sale contract for the purchase of such property and authorizing the city manager to execute said contract and any and all other documents necessary to effectuate the transfer of the property.
Assistant City Manager.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Council. This is the property at 1 Burdale Court. We discussed this. The contract is do not exceed $40,000. This authorizes the purchase for the expansion of Plaza 501. If there's questions, more than happy to answer those.
I'm requesting a motion and a second for approval.
So moved.
Second.
Deputy Clerk, please call the roll.
Councilman Cassoff,
Aye.
Councilman Franklin,
Aye.
Councilman Palmer,
Aye.
Councilman Williams,
Aye.
Mayor Jones,
Aye.
Councilman Covington,
Aye.
Councilwoman Noah. Aye.
Resolution number 2026-8 passes. We move to resolution number 2026-9. Without objections, to be introduced by Mayor Jones, Councilman Franklin, Councilwoman Noor, Councilman Cassoff, and Councilwoman Covington. Hear no objection. Attorney Ryan, please read the resolution.
Resolution selecting a contractor for First Amendment training and discrimination-free policing training, awarding the contract to said contractor, and authorizing the city manager to execute the contract on behalf of the city.
Assistant City Manager.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Council. As the resolution outlined, this is for a contract for First Amendment rights training for the PD, as well as training for discrimination-free policing. If there's questions, I'm more than happy to answer those.
I'm requesting a motion and a second for approval.
So moved. Second.
Clerk London, please read. Please call the roll.
Councilman Franklin,
Aye.
Councilman Cassoff.
Aye.
Councilman Covington.
Aye.
Councilwoman Noah. Aye. Mayor Jones.
Aye.
Councilman Palmer.
Aye.
Councilman Williams.
Aye.
Resolution 2026-9 passes. You up? Without objection to introduce by Mayor Jones, Councilman Franklin, resolution number 2026-10. Councilwoman Orr, Councilman Cassoff, Councilwoman Covington. Go ahead.
Madam Mayor, I have a motion.
So you may state your motion.
I move to amend resolution 2026-10 such that in each place where the word owner appears, it shall be replaced by the word operator.
Is there a second?
Second, Lamika Covington.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it. Attorney Ryan, please read the amended resolution.
A resolution to transfer special use permit for 800 Chambers Road in the city of Ferguson with no changes in the stipulation and conditions of operations on the site as amended.
City Manager.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Council. This SUP was originally approved back in 2020, as the memo indicated. MGM Healthcare is planning on operating the same as it is currently without change, so we were just recommending this SUP is transferred to them for use.
Councilman Cassoff.
I just have a brief comment regarding this. Over the past several years, we've had a lot of complaints from residents that live near this facility regarding the lack of maintenance of the grounds in particular. I hope that with the new owner, things get better, but I also ask that the city manager direct the code enforcement team to pay close attention to how things are done there. Arbor Hills has been a problem in more than one way. They've been fined $280,000 by the federal government in the last 2 years. So there's concerns that go beyond tree debris laying around and grass not being cut. And I'm a little unhappy because the new owner owns several other North County nursing homes, and every one of them has a 1-star rating from the federal government. So that's not anything within our jurisdiction, of course, but the condition of the grounds is, and I hope that we are diligent in enforcing that with the new owners. Thank you.
I'm requesting a motion and a second for approval.
So moved.
Second, Laquita Noah. Deputy Clerk London, please call the roll.
Councilman Cassoff.
Aye.
Councilwoman Noah. Aye. Councilwoman Covington.
Aye.
Mayor Jones.
Aye.
Councilman Franklin.
Aye.
Councilman Palmer.
Aye.
Councilman Williams.
Aye.
Resolution number 2026-10 passes. We move to resolution number 2026-11. Without objection, we're introduced by Mayor Jones, Councilman Franklin, and Councilman Cassoff. Without any objection, Attorney Ryan, please read the resolution.
A resolution amending its selection of a contractor for a Ferguson zoning code update, the award of the contract to said contractor, and authorizing the city manager to execute such amendments on behalf of the city.
Assistant City Manager.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Council. As the resolution outlines, this is to fund the project that had stalled out due to some staff turnover. This allows that project to continue and be completed. If there are additional questions, Nathan from our planning and our community development program is here.
Hear none? Question a motion and a second for approval.
So moved.
Oh, okay. Track that back. We have 2 questions, okay? Who was first? Councilman Franklin, then Councilman Palmer.
Just for clarity, this is a revamp, not a restructure. Is that correct?
So, yeah, the original project that was signed many years ago was just reorganizing, some proofreading. This, we're going to have a whole new zoning code. So that's why we're asking for the increase in funding for this.
And that'll bring us up to modern times.
to say the very least.
There it is.
We'll be leaders instead of followers.
Go ahead.
Is this the same firm that did not complete their first project we hired them to do?
So the answer is yes, but it had nothing to do with the firm. They've just got no direction from staff to do it. And we'll be working with them, but they are eminently qualified.
Oh, the scope of work has changed. Would it be in our best interest to go out for bid for this?
I would say no, you're not gonna get better or cheaper bids or better or more qualified firms to do it. And again, we're just amending their existing contract. And they've already done some work for us. So, the money that we've paid and the time that we've put in is not gonna just be tossed aside. We'll build on top of what they've already started to do.
One concern I had, what was it, 6 years ago? Was that about right?
It's at least.
Prior to my time even being on council, I was concerned that there was an extreme lack of diversity within this firm out of Chicago. Is that correct?
I don't have any knowledge or opinions on the diversity of whatever, of the firm or whatever that would actually mean.
Okay. Yeah, at the time, I think they had like maybe one black employee out of like 30. And that did bring some concern to me at the time, given that our community is 80% African American.
Sure, I understand.
But are there, but also it brings the issue up of if we did go out for bid, are there minority firms that do this work?
I've, in my time of zoning, I'm not aware of like one particular firm that's, really advertises or says that they're a minority zoning firm. It is kind of specialized and kind of nerdy to do this. So you're not going to have 1,000 applicants for, this type of project. I wouldn't have any expectation of, if it went out for new bids, of any changes or any, great difference in the backgrounds or expertise of any firm. Again, this firm is beyond qualified to do this work.
Are there any local municipalities within the St. Louis region that have done zoning work with this? Housel Levine?
I'm not aware of that specific locally. They're a very large firm out of Chicago. There are smaller zoning firms around town that do stuff. I will sort of keep my personal professional comments to myself on the quality and expertise of local zoning ordinances.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? Councilwoman Noah?
Thank you. So you said that some work has been done. I was
Yes.
on council when this was initially approved. So when can we expect a presentation on that work?
So, I have copies of it too. I'm happy to get it to you. It's like proofreading and just moving stuff around. It is not worth your time to read over. It's something that we can start to build on, but I wouldn't take what's been done and say, oh, hey, council, we could adopt this and do anything with it, because we just can't. And again, that's not a dig against the firm. It was just kind of left to just trail off. That way, yes.
Oh, my God. Thank you. We're finally here. So we'll just wait until you're ready to present, or the firm is going to present.
Yeah, it's a really exciting project, so I'm glad to hear that you're excited about it. We will have sort of a re-kickoff with council and planning commission to get the ball rolling. The intent is to get moving and just get to work, and then bring, a real comprehensive package to walk through, as opposed to going to bit by bit by bit and just take another 6 years to get the stuff done. So you'll have some really interesting and comprehensive stuff to review when it's time.
Thank you. Councilman Palmer?
Is the expected product when this is complete to be more of a form-based code or more of a traditional zoning code?
Good question. So, and I like the nerdy questions like that too. So if it was up to me, I would say form-based. I think that's probably an incredibly radical change to try and get totally put into place. I would love to just have, to have it all form-based. But we will definitely incorporate more architectural guidelines like we do in our downtown and West Florissant zoning in other areas, because I think that's really appropriate and really useful. But to say that we'll have just all form-based codes and ditch, Euclidean zoning, if we're going to throw it, be really nerdy about it, I think that's probably pushing it a little bit far. But we'll definitely get away from only having like this use here and just some text, and this use here and just some text, and blah, 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 blah. We'll definitely incorporate more form-based into it. And that's one of the real advantages of doing this. We're going to be able to set the tone and really say, all right, we want Ferguson not just to be like this, but to really look like this, and have some details and guidelines to back that up. And I think that also, although it may make the text more, it'll make it easier to implement and easier for developers and even homeowners to understand what we're doing in each area. So it's a really good change.
Yeah, a lot of the strife we've been receiving as of late, I'd say last couple of years, revolves around our form-based code for our downtown, which form-based codes are great when you have raw land, but when you have to incorporate existing structures into a form-based code, it can be very challenging because of build to zones, not setback zones, visibility, glazing, use, parking. There's so many different requirements that once you get to that threshold of what's significant, substantial construction, it almost becomes a point where the building is almost economically unfeasible to do anything with. Take that into consideration with most of our downtown is in the floodplain.
Right.
So, or the floodway. So if you tear down a structure and you're going to build a new form-based code performing or compliant structure, oftentimes you can't because you'll have to be a foot above the base flood elevation. So that would take almost half of our downtown out of any possibility of being developed in the future because we're more form over function, not function over form. So is the plan for this to scrap the DT1, the DT2, the DT5, the DB1, the DB2, and we have PUDs, we have C,
Right.
we have R1.
So-
Is it going to be residential, commercial, industrial, all rewrote?
So our hands will be on every single zone. And even work that I've had to do, I've found plenty of errors all throughout our zoning, charts missing, things referring to stuff that's not there, on and back and forth. So I would say there will not be one line that is not reviewed, and not necessarily that everything is going to be totally different. There may be some language that carries over, and there certainly will be. But the intent is to, modernize, update, have as much be new and, relevant for 2026 and 7 as it is. As far as, developing in floodplains and challenges with existing buildings, number one, the possibility of getting variances and working with developers is something that, we'll make a point to incorporate there. And also, I think just having better, more stable, more professional staff, able to explain and work with developers to get things in place and buildings renovated makes it a lot easier. Also, too, just based on past experience, also, we adopt, and this is a little bit of a sidebar, but we adopt all those international codes, property maintenance, building codes, fire codes, all those things, right? One of the things that most places adopt, and we're one of them, we adopt the International Existing Building Code, but then we don't actually recognize we've adopted that. So the process for changing and modifying and renovating an existing building is different than it is for a new building. Most municipalities don't really understand that they've adopted those codes and use them in the first place. So we need to understand we have codes in place for making the transformation of existing buildings a lot easier. And we just remember that we can use those and not, have everything be under the umbrella of a new building, new construction. When it comes to the form-based codes for downtown, though, if you're going to do a big renovation, yes, there would be an understanding that you would want to conform with the design guidelines for a certain area. Would that mean that it's reasonable for us or anybody who'd have this code say, oh, you just got to scrap your building and your cost is through the roof? No, and that would not be the expectation. There's an existing building there. We would work with them to get the uses and the design guidelines in place over time. But it wouldn't be, it wouldn't be like a stick and carrot. Like you wouldn't say you can have this use there, but only if you spend $10 billion retrofitting your building to look a certain way. We would never do that. And the code would never be written to say that.
But any of those deviations from the code we adopt would have to go before the Board of Adjustment, correct?
Yes, but if the building is there, you would never be required to renovate the whole thing as a condition of you getting a use put in your building. So there wouldn't be any speed bumps to anyone, having a business there, making money. If you wanted to build a new building, yes, you would have to be in conformance with our codes, but that would be the expectation anywhere in the city.
Yeah, I did a project where I had to actually add 20 feet onto the front of the building because at the time they said it was so significant, I needed to conform to the new form-based code and build an addition to the front of the street, which actually was so close, it actually got rid of the possibility of front porch dining at a restaurant because it was so close to the street.
So what I would say is that was probably the decision of whoever was working at the time, and I know how I operate, and I'll leave it at that.
And then also is the zoning code going to look at the antiquated things we have, such as bans on massage parlors. I understand where that came from. That came from a time in the past. But I guarantee if Massage Lux was trying to open in Ferguson, we probably wouldn't want to deny them because currently that is forbidden.
Right, so 100%. We reference a lot of obsolete and outdated things and thought process and all that, and that is going to be relegated to the past.
I believe we even reference Turkish baths in our zoning code.
We can be as luxurious as we want to be. Come on.
Okay, thank you.
Sure.
All right, Councilman Franklin.
Do you have an estimated timeline of completion?
We should be adopting those codes a year from now.
Any other questions? Okay, could you restate the motion?
What, to approve it?
Yeah,
Yeah, so moved.
is there a second? There was a second.
I second it.
Okay, now, Deputy Clerk London, could you please call the roll?
Councilman Cassoff,
Aye.
Councilman Franklin,
Aye.
Councilman Palmer,
Aye.
Councilman Williams.
Aye.
Mayor Jones,
Aye.
Councilwoman Covington,
Aye.
Councilwoman Noah.
Resolution 2026-11 passes. We move to resolution number 2026-12. Without objection will be introduced by Mayor Jones, Councilwoman Noor, and Councilman Cassoff. Hear none. Attorney Ryan, please read the resolution.
A resolution selecting a contractor for mapping and GIS services, awarding the contract to said contractor, and authorizing the city manager to execute the contract on behalf of the city.
Assistant City Manager.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Council. As mentioned, this is the resolution to enter a contract for the GIS mapping. This project was bid out. It's being funded through EDST funds. It's been recommended by the EDST board. And again, Nathan is here if there are any questions.
Any questions? Councilman Franklin?
So what would this do that the GIS maps provided by St. Louis County won't?
So we don't own any of those maps, have any control over it. So for example, we rezoned a property the other night. I'm glad it's on paper because it's on no map. We don't have any control over any of that. The real goal here is to have a database that we control and that we have our own information in that is also accessible to residents in a better way. So for example, and some of these were listed in here, but we can have a layer for just our parks, for just our streets, for code enforcement data, for crime data, zoning, building permits, all those things, and have an interface on a website that citizens could click through their own layers, something St. Louis County just wouldn't have. They only manage the municipal data that we give to them, right? So if we don't give them anything for Ferguson, they're not going to have that stuff. They really care more about the unincorporated areas. One of the other things that is really great for us that we could do is, let's say there's a pothole, right? We don't know where everything is all the time, or if there's a tree that's fallen. Well, a resident could go into the database, click it, drop a pin there, and send us a notification. Oh, hey, there's a pothole here. Great, thank you for that. And it's just really a way for us to manage and have control over our own information in a lot better ways that we just don't even have at all now. We have no mapping, we have nothing. If you want a zoning map, I'll go print off a PDF that I don't know where it came from, I don't know how old it is. We just don't have these things at all right now.
And also, what's my question? I'm getting old.
I doubt that.
No, so my last question was with GI. You go ahead. I didn't forget. You go ahead, man. I gotta think about it.
That happens. Okay, Councilman Palmer.
So is the firm going to be like administering our GIS? So we say we want this layer and they do it?
Yes, they're gonna host, maintain, do all the data, everything for us. That's why there's an annual maintenance fee. So we've got to buy no hardware. We're gonna use their Esri licenses. They'll host everything for us.
If we continue to add layers, are they gonna say, wait a minute, this isn't what we signed? I mean, is there like a?
Well, I would imagine that, if we say we want all this, 10,000 new things, there probably would be a cost adjustment at some point, which would be reasonable. But I have full expectation that what we will have in this contract will get us quite ahead of where we are and get us what we need foundationally.
And then I'm just curious on a technical standpoint, how do you communicate with that GIS administrator change? Is it like, what's the uniform? Is it locator number? Is that what they work off of? Or when you say we need to change this locator number to be a park or a rental property or in the floodplain, or the floodplain is different because it kind of goes over.
Right. So a lot of the fundamental, like we will pull St. Louis County data, put it in there in layers and make sure it looks right. We have folders on the planning and development drive of GIS files. I have no idea what they are. I have no software to open them up with, but I'll say, here guys, find out what all this stuff is. This will be something that grows and changes over time. Do I expect the data that gets clicked on to be 100% perfect? No, because it's gonna be something that constantly changes and we'll find errors and we'll make changes and add to it. But again, it's just such a leap forward from what we have now, which is not really anything, that it's gonna just be a great advancement for us.
Will they still incorporate county data such as LiDAR, aerial data, SEMA, FEMA? Will all that still be incorporated?
Anything that we get, all I've gotta do is send it to them.
Okay.
And they'll host everything, just keep adding layers
So
to
we'll
it.
still have the dozen or so layers St. Louis County provides?
Yes.
And then we could hypothetically add additional layers should we choose to do so.
Because St. Louis County gets their data from somewhere else also. So, flood maps, those come from the federal government. Great, thanks. Here you go to, TWM, add that layer for us. And then because we have it, we'll have an interface that the public can get it to click through it and look for themselves also. So, if you have your lot, you'll be able to go through our maps and say, all right, here's my lot. Whatever county data is there, if it's in a flood zone, you'll be able to see that. You'll be able to see our zoning on top of it. All those kind of things will just be accessible to everybody.
And this will be incorporated after our zoning rewrite or before?
It'll all be going at the same time. So one aspect of the zoning rewrite that is directly related to this, we currently don't have a future land use map for the city, which is a pretty egregious oversight. I'll just leave that as well, right? Leave that where it is. But if I've got a firm doing GIS work, they can now work with the planning design firm, get that layer built. If the future land use map is done first, and it's one of the first things listed on our task, we'll get that in our zoning, in our mapping right then. We have to have an updated zoning map. Again, that's part of our zoning project. Well, will then be created in our new database right at the beginning. So they'll be working together. But the GIS will be finished by the end of this year. Because the data will be what it is. Now, again, this is something that's constantly growing, constantly changing, but that's just how it works.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Councilman Franklin?
So you touched on my question about maintenance fees.
Yeah.
What will that be? Is that an annual fee?
Yeah, it's $5,000 a year. But again, they're hosting all the hardware, all the licenses, and doing all the work really for us, which is fantastic.
So if the system crashes, then they can recover it.
Yes, and because they're working it's all in Esri, which is the main software, right? It's all in ArcGIS. That data is portable to anywhere we want to go. So, the system, there won't really be a system to crash per se, because it's all at their servers and all be backed up. But that data is not going to go anywhere. And let's say, they're vaporized. We'll still have that data. We can just take it wherever we want, because there's nothing proprietary about it.
Councilwoman Noah?
Future land use map. Yes. Yeah. So that again, nerdy planning stuff. When you do rezonings, typically you refer back to your comprehensive plan, which has a future land use map in it to guide those rezoning decisions. We don't have that right now. And I can understand why it wasn't made for the comprehensive plan when it was made, but it should have been.
Any other questions? I'm requesting a motion and a second for approval.
So moved.
Second.
Deputy Clerk, please call the roll.
Councilman Casson.
Aye.
Councilman Franklin.
Aye.
Councilman Palmer.
Aye.
Councilman Williams.
Aye.
Mayor Jones.
Aye.
Councilwoman Covington.
Aye.
Councilwoman Noah. Aye.
Resolution 2026-12 passes. We move to resolution number 2026-13. Without objection will be introduced by Mayor Jones, Councilman Castle, Councilwoman Covington, Councilman Palmer, and Councilman Williams. Attorney Ryan, please read the resolution.
A resolution authorizing the mayor to enter into and execute an agreement to hire a city manager.
Assistant City Manager.
I'm gonna leave this one up to you guys for right now.
Okay, what I really want to do is read the resolution in its entirety. Whereas the city charter vests certain authority in the city manager who is appointed by the city council. And whereas the city council has determined that hiring a new city manager is in the best interest of the health, welfare, benefit, and morals of the city. And whereas the city council has identified Mr. David Musgrave, the current assistant city manager, as the best candidate to fill this position. And whereas the city council has agreed to hire Mr. David Musgrave to serve as city manager and shall begin working on April 1st, 2026. Now therefore be it resolved by the City Council of the City of Ferguson, Missouri as follows. Section 1, the City Council hereby approves the agreement between the city and Mr. David Musgrave with an attachment hereto, Exhibit A, which is his contract. Pursuant to the terms set forth in such contract, the City Council hereby appoint David Musgrave as city manager for a term of 7 years, effective on April 1st, 2026. Section 2, the mayor is hereby authorized to execute Exhibit A on behalf of the city of Ferguson. Section 3, the contract of the previous city manager, John Hampton, is hereby terminated with respect to his position of city manager effective April 1st, 2026, and he shall return to his position of fire chief with the city of Ferguson. Section 4, this resolution shall be in full force and effect from and after the date of its passage by the City Council. Passed by the City Council of the City of Missouri on the 24th day of March, 2026. Any questions? Councilwoman Noah?
So when it comes to, for clarity, when it comes to the resolution, I don't agree with all of the terms. So, when we go to vote, I just want the community to understand why I am voting the way that I am voting. That's basically it. I don't agree with the 7-year contract. And, but I do support Dave, and we have had a conversation. So, that's pretty much it. Thank you.
Councilman Franklin?
So yeah, I had a conversation with Dave as well. So he's aware I don't support a 7-year contract for anybody. And I just would like to say in the future, when we go about selecting our next city manager, this council or whatever council comes after me, it should be a competitive process where people are interviewing, in my opinion, So Dave, you're very capable, very responsive, very customer service friendly, which is important to me. But at the same time, I think that we don't limit ourselves. We make it a competitive process, let everybody put their name in the hat, and we go from there, just like we do for our city clerk's position. So just my 2 cents.
Councilman Kassoff?
Well, I want to start by expressing my gratitude to Mr. Musgrave and my sympathies. Being the city manager of Ferguson is a vital job, and sometimes it's a really hard job. As our assistant city manager for a little while now, Dave has shown diligence, professionalism, good judgment, and a real love for our city. And I'm grateful that he's willing to take on a position which is probably going to cost him whatever hair he has left on his head. Regarding the 7-year contract, most of you here know our history with city managers over the last decade. And, John Hampton came and did double duty and worked 18 hours a day for the city basically because we couldn't find anybody else. And the times when we did hire other people, they didn't last very long. Some of the people we hired, I loved. Some of them, not so much. Dave has shown himself to be a rock here. And if he actually makes it 7 years, it'll be a huge benefit to every person who lives or works in Ferguson. Now, that being said, a 7-year contract doesn't mean he can sit here and do whatever he wants or just phone it in for the next 7 years and collect a paycheck. We are still in employment at will state, and he can be terminated with or without cause. So if Dave suddenly turns from the wonderful professional he's been into a disaster who's wrecking City Hall, we can walk him out to the parking lot, even if there's 6.5 years left on his contract. All the contract really means is that if we fire him without cause, he's entitled to severance. Other than that, he can be terminated at any time. So I have no discomfort whatsoever in saying, look, if you do the job, we want you to stay here and do the job. And I would have said that to every single city manager who has served here. So I'm anxious and delighted to vote yes on this resolution when it comes up.
Councilman Williams.
So I hire people quite a bit. If you can hire from within someone that's competent and able to do the job, you should do that, especially if they have experience. I think if Dave wasn't capable, what Councilman Franklin said, open up the bidding process. So we opened up the bidding process for city clerk, and that didn't turn out so well. So I think it's always beneficial to hire from within because that individual knows the culture, they have experience, and it tends to work out better. Thank you.
I just like to say, I have the institutional knowledge. I've been here 11 years. I've been working with Dave 11 years. He took our parks department that was drowning and turned it into a viable parks department where other municipalities call for his expertise. He done a phenomenal job over in parks. When John brought him over to be assistant city manager, Dave came in running, and he has done tremendous things with the assistant city manager. I have no problems hiring from within. At that point, I am going to make the motion. And then I'll get asked for a second. Okay.
I just wanted to echo that. Mr. Musgrave, how long have you been working for the city of Ferguson?
Today is actually my 12-year anniversary.
If our city government citywide can achieve the efficiency, customer service that the Parks Department has in the last 12 years, the city will have a very responsive, very accountable government. The residents will be able to have all the accountability they want, all the receptiveness they need. It will be night and day difference, and the stability we need. We've needed stability in that position for quite some time. I mean, since long before I've even sat up here. So I'm pretty excited to know that we'll have at least, somebody who's extremely committed to the city, has the energy to do the job, and able to sit in that budget meeting with the finance director and actually give us a legitimate budget. I haven't had a good budget presentation from a seasoned finance director in all my time sitting up here. It's been 4 or 5 different budgets from 4 or 5 different people, 2 of the times presented by the city manager, not even the finance director, because we didn't have one. So I'm looking forward to that, because that's where we really make the biggest impact for our residents, is listening to what their concerns are. And then our job is to legislate and pass a budget that addresses those concerns. And that's where we can really make our biggest impact. Thank you.
Anyone else? I would like to make the motion
And I'll second it.
to approve resolution 2026-13
So move.
to hire Dave Musgrave as the Ferguson city manager.
And I'll second that.
Clerk, Deputy Clerk,
We're not to fight
London,
for a second.
please call the roll.
Dave, sorry, Councilman Williams.
Aye.
I made the motion, start with me.
No, she moved, I seconded.
Dave down there, sorry.
We have 2
Mayor Jones.
seconds. Aye.
Councilman Cassoff,
Aye.
Councilman Williams,
Aye.
Councilman Palmer,
Aye.
Councilman Franklin,
Aye.
Councilwoman Covington,
Aye.
Councilwoman Nolan.
I'm going to ask that. Resolution number 2026-13 passes. Please introduce your family and bring them forward, please.
So my wife Jessica is here, my daughter Hadley, and my son Bryce, who I'm pretty sure was asleep in the back room for the last half hour. But this is my family.
Okay. Thank you, Jesse, for saying yes. Thank you. All righty. We move to bills requiring first reading. Bill number 7335, without objection to be introduced by Mayor Ella Jones, Councilwoman Covington, Councilman Franklin, Councilman Cassoff, and Councilwoman Noor. Attorney Ryan, please read the bill by title only.
Thank you, Mayor. An ordinance approving the lot consolidation of property being proposed at Somerset Park Phase 1 and amending the zoning map for the same within the city of Ferguson, County of St. Louis, state of Missouri.
City Manager.
Mayor and council, this is the first reading. If there's questions, I'm more than happy to answer them, but that'll also come for second reading if possible.
Thank you. Bill number 7336, without objection, introduced by Mayor Jones, Councilwoman Covington, Councilman Jamel Franklin, and Councilman Nick Cassoff. Attorney Ryan, please read the bill by title only.
An ordinance of the city of Ferguson, Missouri, adding a provision to the city's code of ordinances to facilitate the acceptance by the city of Ferguson of gifts.
City Manager.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, council. This resolution is actually in response to your ordinance is actually in response to your next ordinance. We were looking through our code and there really wasn't a good way for us to accept property that's being donated, that sort of thing. So this is outlining that process moving forward. But if there's questions, I'm more than happy to answer them.
Thank you. Bill number 7337, without objections, introduced by Mayor Ella Jones, Councilwoman Covington, Councilman Franklin, and Councilman Cassoff. Attorney Ryan, please read the bill by title only.
An ordinance of the city of Ferguson, Missouri, authorizing the city to accept the donation of 511 Suburban Avenue in the city of Ferguson, Missouri.
City Manager.
Yes, we were approached by the owner of 511 Suburban. They'd like to donate the property to the city. And so this ordinance is allowing that process to take place.
We moved to unfinished business. Councilman Cassoff.
No, Councilman Palmer has something.
Oh, Councilman Palmer.
Madam Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to reconsider the childcare facility, the special use permit for childcare facility for Lorraine McGregory at 930 North Elizabeth.
Which is Bill 7332.
Okay, is there a second?
I second.
Oh, Councilman Cassoff seconded. Okay. Councilwoman Covington, she seconded. And who else? Councilwoman Noor, she seconded. Do we have any questions?
No, I have a, go ahead. I'll give it to you. That's what my hand. Go ahead.
Councilman Cassoff.
So at our last meeting, I Mr. Palmer made this motion and I didn't second it. And I said, the people who have objections need to come to an agreement and get to me, because one way or another, this lady's not gonna wait another day after this council meeting. I have not heard from anybody, so I was delighted to second it. I would like to say, to the city manager, now that she has agreed that there won't be parking on the south side of Plantmore, I would like to make that a no parking zone from Elizabeth to the rear of her property line and erect signage about that. So if you can initiate whatever process is necessary for that, I'd appreciate it. We have other issues that people have complained about there that have nothing to do with her daycare. And the way we can resolve that is to make that a no parking zone. Thank you.
Councilwoman Noor. Councilwoman Noor.
No, she had her hands raised as well. Thank you, Mayor. I will say a couple of things. Finally, this is happening for you, Ms. McGregory. It's been a long time coming. I want to apologize, because it shouldn't have taken all of this. But it did. It shouldn't have taken this long, but it did. At the last council meeting, Councilman Palmer did make the motion. I did second. I was one of the original yes votes. And at the last council meeting, I was told I could not second the reconsideration, which I could, but I am thankful that we are here today. And I appreciate the council and the mayor and the staff. And this is just for clarity that we are doing things better and we are going to move forward together. And this is a perfect instance of that. And thank you, ma'am, for your patience. Thank you, Mayor, for the time.
Councilwoman Covington.
Okay, so I want to say that I was one of the no's. It was guidelines that were not followed, and I am not okay with just giving the okay with it without knowing everything that was going on. Also, during the last meeting when Councilman Palmer put the motion up, you did turn in a petition with people's name on there. We never received it. I think Councilman Franklin came up and got one. We didn't know about it. So I want to say that, but also that I think that it was things that needed to be done before we gave the approval, and I am happy it's moving forward for you.
Anyone else? Councilman Franklin.
Yeah, I'm just happy that my colleagues have come around and we're gonna do the right thing tonight. You know, I saw it from the very beginning, like most things. And I just want to commend you for staying vigilant and making sure that we did our jobs, you know, and did our due diligence. So
No. Anyone else? It has been properly moved and second 3 times. Please call the roll.
Councilman Palmer.
Aye.
Councilman Haddock.
Aye.
Councilwoman Cook.
Aye.
Mayor Jones.
Aye.
Councilman Franklin.
aye.
Councilman Little.
Aye.
Yes.
Bill number 7332 passes. Any other unfinished business?
Right quick, this is unfinished business. I have questions that I don't expect an answer to now, future city manager, but in the future. At the last council meeting, it was stated that FNIP received $100,000 of that. I know in the budget last year, we ended up allocating them the money, and then come to find out they had changed their bylaws, so there was a lot of back and forth, and then there was conversation about them needing to have a contract with the city, and if we were going to allow other, I guess, entities who worked on homes, who complete such work as FNIP, other groups to also have discussion with the city and possibly have a contract. Anyway, it was stated last week in the council meeting that there is a contract. I would like to ask, will that contract be brought to council? Is there something that the city is just going to work on with FNIP That's the first question. Also, will FNIP receive the additional $200,000 that they asked? Because they did request a total of $300,000. And, will they also be eligible for additional funding in the next budget season? How is that going to work? Again, I'm sure, these are questions for maybe a future date. And this is to FNIP. It was stated that the money was needed so that we can continue the exterior home grant program and I guess the tree program as well. And that is good because those programs are vital. People do utilize them. I just wonder, where is their reserve account? Because in the January 2023 meeting, we were told that they had an amount of approximately $700,000 in that account. And at this time, I would assume that wealth has grown. So I'm just curious about that reserve account and how come those monies wasn't touched when money was needed, being that the contract has not been, I'm assuming based upon the conversation from the last council meeting, the contract has not been agreed upon with the city and FNIP. That's it.
City Manager.
I can answer two of your questions accurately, one halfway, but I can't answer the fourth. So the contract is still being negotiated. It's actually in legal's hands right now. We're going back and forth to figure out all the details on that. Hope that we can make some progress that in the next 30 to 40 days realistically. Your second question was in regards to the funding being released, additional funding being released at the $200,000. I'm not answering that direct because the contract's still being negotiated. I really can't answer that. Third question was, I believe, about, trying to remember now. That's a council decision. So you guys set the budget, approve, disapprove who's getting funding. So that's a question for you guys. Your last question was about their reserve accounts. It is my understanding, and again, I don't control their finances, this is my understanding. They have money in the reserve account, that is true, but it is tied up currently because some of the work they're doing on some of the other homes in town. They have to have reserves to cover the repairs, other things like that, to show the bank before they can move forward through that process. So they are tied up because of those commitments they have with some of the houses that were on the demo list, but they've now recovered and are recouping to bring those back to life so they don't get demolished. I know of at least one they're successfully working on currently. Don't remember the address offhand. As my understanding, they're also looking at least one additional, possibly two additional, and that's what the funding is being tied up for. Again, I don't run their finances, but that's just my understanding.
Councilman Franklin?
Since we're talking about FNIP, I just wanted to point out that I raised these concerns during our last budget meeting. And it appears I was correct because we are entering into a contract with FNIP to provide those services that we love in our community. So I just kind of wanted to set the record straight because I've been villainized by some of my colleagues as being the individual that wanted to dismantle FNIP and get rid of it. And that was never the case. I just wanted to make sure that the city followed the rules. And I'm glad to hear that we're doing things the right way. So thank you.
Councilman Passoff. I've been trying to hold you back all night. Go ahead, Councilman Cassoff.
I don't want to make a political football out of what is probably the best program that the city of Ferguson has. But Councilman Franklin keeps on hunting and spiking and whatever else football players do. The fact of the matter is, the city attorney said it would be good to have a contract. He did not say that it was required. He did not say, as Mr. Franklin did, that it fell under state procurement law. And in fact, he explicitly said that it did not fall under state procurement law, nor was there a requirement for competitive bidding or anything like that. So, you can spike the ball in the end zone, but the ball's flat. FNIP received a $300,000 budget allocation from City Council in April. Months later, when that wasn't paid out, a majority of council voted to direct the city manager to immediately pay it out, and it wasn't done. I don't know of any other instance where city council votes to appropriate money and then passes a resolution to make a payment to a vendor and the city just doesn't do it. Now, there's some other reasons why that might not have happened, okay? We appropriated $300,000 of economic development sales tax funds. And when we went to the budget session in April, we got a financial statement that said there was $6 million in that account. Come to find out that under past finance directors, not the gentleman over here, but under past finance directors, those funds have been transferred elsewhere and there was nothing left in the account. The whole $6 million that we thought we had in April, I'm not sure where it went, and I know we're going to find out eventually because we're crunching the numbers and doing whatever we're doing, but we didn't have the $300,000 is my understanding, because the account that we appropriated it from didn't have $6 million. It had nothing. So you got bigger concerns than whether FNIP got appointed by me or had a self-appointing board. You got way bigger concerns than that. And yeah, they're related to the $300,000 that FNIP didn't get tangentially. But contract or no contract, I don't know how much money the EDST fund has brought in since April, but it was empty. And it had, the EDST fund has other obligations. So I guess FNIP's got to take a number and wait their turn until that money's replenished. And we have to find out what's going on with that fund, and our finance department or we have an auditor who comes in here every year. We've gotten clean audits every year. I'm not sure how, but that's the real situation here. It doesn't have a thing to do with a contract that is not required by state law. So spike the football all you want, but you're in the wrong end zone, buddy.
Any other unfinished business while we talking about FNIP? Councilman Palmer.
Mine wasn't in relation to FNIP, so I can wait.
Oh, yours not related to it?
No.
Okay. Any other?
Sorry. You mentioned that the EDST, the $6 million of the EDST funding it's not there. I mean, where's the money? What's going on?
That's all going to be presented during the budget time. What's the actual brought in this year?
I don't have that number off the top of my head.
Gotcha.
But it's not correct to say the money just disappeared. There's no money, or even that payments weren't made because there's no money. That's not the case at all.
So you said, Dave, you're going to present during the budget. That's when we'll find out what happened to the $6 million during the budget season.
Right. It was interfund transfers.
Right.
Councilman Palmer.
I was curious if I can get an update on the city's disposition of 830 South Florissant Road and the adjacent parcels.
Yeah, so the plan was to auction them. It still is. We're just trying to figure out best timing for that. I think we're gonna have to bring a resolution to you guys for that process, and then we can go to next steps. We just vacated the road. It actually took an extra 30 days to get that done properly with county. I just received the filed paperwork with county, so it's been vacated properly at this point, so they can realign those plots and all that. And at that point, we can move forward with it. But it realistically took an extra 45 days to get a report with county.
And I did actually have a question in relation to when that property was purchased, that was probably even before you were here. If that was used, whatever fund that was used from, does the money from the sale have to go back into that fund?
I'd have to do research, but the only funds that are restricted as far as that goes would be park versus general, unless we use some type of EDST or that type of thing.
I guess it was probably TIF money.
And again, I'm not positive. I had to do research. No
So I wasn't sure if that needs to go back into the TIF, because the TIF is kind of a restricted fund. If I'm not, is that correct?
The TIF is, but it would depend on what TIF you're talking about, because the TIF may be canceled or disbanded now anyway.
They're both
No,
expired.
To put the money back.
Yeah.
Generally, the way I would think of it as an accountant, if we receive money for the sale of something, that's gonna be a special revenue bucket. It's not operating income, but it's income from the sale of a property. It goes in a special place on your financial statements. But I don't think it's gonna go back to that restricted fund in the way that you're saying. You would, as the council, in my mind, I allocate those funds back.
So somehow I go into a special allocation fund within the general fund.
Right, once I get some money, unless it has its allocation already, it's general money. You can then say, well, this was the sale of a property, it was purchased by this, so we're gonna put it back in this fund. That's a council decision to move the money to the fund.
I did have one question I forgot about the zoning code work we're going to do. I was curious if there has been discussions or any ideas about any potential changes within the residential zoning districts, and if so, what those may be.
The answer is yes. The extent of changes, I don't have a list this second, but we want to make sure we deliver housing that people want and can afford.
So you might change some setbacks, you might change minimum lot widths.
Not say that I would assure you that will be brought forward in some capacity in the drafts of the for sure.
Has there been talk about any of these, what people around here would call outside the box considerations? Like if we were to add like an R1D, there's like a tiny home development that has shared utilities, like not that I'm advocating for that, but I'm just curious if those are the kind of things we're looking at. Cause I know that for quite some time, there's been, at least I've noticed, there's been our restrictions on concentration levels of residential housing is pretty conservative. To the point where people were like, if you've noticed in Canfield Green, the property is quite large, but all of the units are on one side of the property. I don't think that was the spirit of the zoning at the time. It was just like a loophole to squeeze them all over there to save some money on infrastructure, which the point was to keep people distant from each other, not to have everybody stacked on top of each other and then have a fairway from an old golf course on the right side, which is what it actually is. So I was just curious if we're going to address the concentration levels, but also the distance between, so that we we don't have huge swaths of land right now that could become an issue, but I want to make sure we don't run into that same roadblock again where everything's pushed to one portion of a lot. Thank you.
You had something, Councilman Franklin?
Sure. So I'll just reiterate my point. When it comes to local government, no governing body can give away taxpayers' money to an independent non-for-profit unless there's a grant application process already in place, a contract, or you got to go out for bids. So like we just can't award money. But that's why most of, FNIP historically had always been part of the city, so that we could just easily allocate money like we allocate to any other department within the city. So I just wanted to provide some clarity. That is a fact. We can't just allocate money, taxpayers' money, to any non-for-profit organization unless they fit one of those three parameters. So that's all I got.
Okay. My unfinished business is there is a lot of talk that the Neighborhood Police Steering Committee is not a part of the city of Ferguson. And that is not true, because I have my consent decree here, and it's the consent decree was entered in by the United States versus the city of Ferguson. And it specifies the police department And if you read the consent decree on page 6, under community engagement, you will find the information about the neighborhood police steering committee. I have additional copies here. And it outlines the expectation of the neighborhood police steering committee. I'm not going to read all of it. It's late. However, we do have copies, and I will have the deputy clerk to make additional copies. But I talked with Patricia Washington, and she made these copies. But I do want to bring one thing to everyone's attention is, I was there on day 1 when the first meeting was held. And it was an overflow over in the community center. And I watch, and I've been observing. I haven't saying anything. But this is coming up a little bit too often. And I just would like to read the fact that the United States versus the city of Ferguson. The police department is a department in the city of Ferguson. It is not a separate entity. Planning and zoning is in the city of Ferguson. You are not a separate entity. Public Works belongs to the city of Ferguson. It is not an entity, or it does whatever it wants to do. However, the last paragraph, which is number 3 on page 7, if you have a copy, it says, the city will designate a city employee to provide administrative support necessary for the NPFC to effectively perform its advisory function. It says advisory function. The city owns the police department. The city owns the NPSC. That's my unfinished business. We've moved to new business. I'd just like to say the contract for Chief Troy Doyle has been successfully negotiated for 4 years with an option with another year. It is posted on the website and all Facebook, whatever we have for the city, the police department and all of that. So his contract is official, and it is the right of the council to announce that contract and not a resident. So I don't know how that happened, but the official contract and the official word comes from this council and not a resident on Facebook. We don't do business that way. So the official contract is being mentioned tonight, and John Hampton has successfully negotiated the contract with our attorney. Any other new business?
Yes, thank you, Mayor. It's a concern. A young lady spoke today, this evening, a business owner, a West Florissant business owner. Is there an opportunity, any opportunity, to support our West Florissant businesses? Again, we're going to be going into the budget. You all are planning, having conversation, not just the businesses in Southeast, but the West Florissant corridor, those small businesses. I mean, I wouldn't not Sam's or Walmart. I'm not advocating for them, but for the small businesses, I am. Um, don't beat me down with the next question. I understand if it's no, but is there an opportunity with EDST? Now, I just heard what Councilman Cassoff just stated, but I'm putting it out there, regarding economic development sales tax funds. I have read what's in the charter regarding EDST and the criteria. However, and this is not anything negative towards what the group that I'm going to mention. So please don't take it this way. I'm just using this as an example because we are appropriating funds to FNIP. And I was reading the criteria for EDST. I mean, and it does say the businesses in the historic district and the downtown business district. But it seems to be that there may be a way that, and legal is here, educate me. But I just want to know if we can help those business owners somehow, some way, if there's any way we can work together. I'm open to listening to your suggestions, future city manager.
Come toward them just a little bit.
Gotcha. As the applicant or the resident mentioned, there is the Revive grant. Unfortunately, that is only for exterior improvements. Her issue is structurally. We're gonna go by tomorrow. Actually, I have it written down to take a look at it. I don't want to misspeak, but I believe the space she may be in is rented or leased. So I don't know exactly what we can do there, truthfully, without working with the building owner. Rented or leased? Her space. Correct. And so it wouldn't be proper for us to repair a building that she doesn't have ownership in, if that makes sense. We do want to work with our planning department and our community development department to see if we can provide resources. But that'll be something we analyze in the next several days once we speak to her. So it's up to the council as far as additional programs. If you guys during budget season direct us that you want to help with something, I mean, we already have disaster recovery, Revive, Roots to Roofs. We can look at other uses for EDST by all means. It's just not something we had done up to this point. And I truthfully, with the way we've modeled our other programs, don't know that a rental would qualify. It would have to go to the building owner because that was one of our stipulations of most of our programs that we've outlined so far. Short enough?
Councilman Palmer, that was a little bit.
Relative to that property, I just wanted to, while I do feel for the owner of Thick Chick Fitness, but I want to refresh your memory. That is the property of Douglas Pitt's organization that was extremely tax delinquent. We also heard about all the deferred maintenance that hadn't been done on that property since he had bought it. So a lot of the things she mentioned, I don't feel like are more of a disaster they are a disaster for the tenant, but they're more so because of neglect of the property owner. When your basement leaks or your roof is caving in, not from a tornado or from a fire or a flood, that's because the property owner has neglected their property. I actually recently signed a lease with a home health care agency from the second floor that could see daylight and rainfall coming in and squirrels eating her paperwork from the second floor of that building. So I think the more appropriate response would be maybe get her in touch with Legal Services of Eastern Missouri, see if they help commercial tenants, maybe pursue a civil action with her landlord, and then us send code enforcement over there because surely that Thick Chick Fitness is in the former Solo Insurance. They haven't been there that long. About 10 years ago, we passed an interior inspection for commercial occupancy. It was kind of a new thing that isn't done in most cities. A lot of this stuff I'm hoping was caught. Maybe it's something new, but it sounds like there's been a lot of deferred maintenance at this property. I mean, I know the parking lot's a mess. The roof apparently is a mess. I'm sure the heating and cooling is a mess. So it might be best for us to approach that building and and I know it's for sale right now. I know there's a for sale sign sitting up front. So I wouldn't expect Mr. Pitt or his organization to do anything to that property anytime soon. So there's not just her no longer in that building. There's a lot of others in that building too that are going to also have extreme concerns about the conditions within that property if you haven't already got those complaints already.
That's why.
Code's been out there 3 times.
Okay. My second new business, I want you to call your attention to the charter, section 7.4, determination of election results. Under section 7.4.1 returns and canvass. The council shall canvass the election returns and declare the results of any municipal election, whether regular or special, at a meeting to be held not later than 2 weeks following the election. The candidate receiving the highest number of votes for each office shall be declared elected and inducted into office at the meeting held on the third Tuesday of the month in which the election is held. St. Louis County will not give us the certification for 2 weeks. Per charter, say we must hold a meeting on April the 21st to get the results. I hope this answer a lot of questions. So go to the charter, section 7.4. Any other new business? Hear none, we move. Go ahead.
I just want to make a quick observation. We had a couple of extreme property problems that were mentioned in public comment this evening. One of them was at 9197 West Florissant, and the other one was on Noah. I've been to the property on Noah. I stood in front of the guy's house and talked to him, and I have no words, which is unusual. But I looked on our city's OpenGov site, and neither one of those properties has an outstanding open code case. One of the things I've talked about in terms of code enforcement is we've got to focus on the low-hanging fruit. If we've got a situation like that, or a building that's got the roof caving in, or, these serious, egregious violations, that's where we got to start with code enforcement. And yet I hear people who get written up because they had peeling paint on window frames or a little algae on their siding. And, everybody should power wash the north side of their house every so often, for sure. But priorities have to be in order here if we want our city not to collapse into ruin. So I just want to ask, as our new city manager takes over soon, that we do that we start going after the low-hanging fruit. And you know what? Anybody who walks around Ferguson knows which buildings are the ones that are the disaster. I should never go on OpenGov where somebody, where the roof is caving in, or the windows are falling out, or you can smell them halfway down the block because there's so much garbage rotting in their yard. I should never go on to OpenGov and not see an active code case for cases like that. We also have other situations. I had a guy that contacted me a couple of weeks ago. Somebody's running a roofing company out of a house in his neighborhood.
That's been on agenda.
And I don't mean that his wife takes appointments on the phone and calls them out to people. Pallets of roofing materials in the driveway, a forklift in the driveway, trucks parked in the yard. And this guy, it's on the agenda now, and they've actually been issued a summons. But this guy said, I've been trying to get the city to do something for 2 years. I don't know what he's been doing. I can't vouch for it, but he's a guy who's very familiar with city government and who most city staff know the guy. I don't think he's making up a story that he's been trying to get things done. So again, should nobody have a forklift and pallets of roofing in their driveway, even for a week, without somebody from the city lighting them up? Low-hanging fruit is what's going to destroy our city. And again, I just want to ask that as we enter the Musgrave era of Ferguson city management, that we refocus our attention on the things that really matter. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm requesting a motion and a second to promote Deputy Clerk London to active city clerk.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second, let me get Covington.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it. Deputy Clerk London, you are now officially the acting city clerk for the city of Ferguson. City manager.
Mayor and council, being that we just made that move, I would request a motion and second if possible to appoint Cindy Eskew as interim deputy clerk to stand behind Miss London when we have issues or need to fill in.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Cindy. We already voted, but you got a question.
I do. It's not about the vote. It's about the process now that we have these two ladies filling in. So all of the response, or maybe I was waiting on the response from the previous clerk, or I was going to email her, or you all want to go through her current emails and respond that way. We don't need to resend you.
No.
Okay, just ask her.
Okay.
I would ask, because I'll have to change the DL list, but if there's anything that's priority for you, if you could identify that with even just myself and Chief Hampton, I can make sure that's done. But for the most part, Ms. Lavetta has been included on most of these emails up to this point.
Okay. We had a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it. Cindy, you are the new acting deputy clerk. And I should say this about Cindy. She was over at Parks and Recreation, and she worked great with the senior citizens. So we needed someone to come over and be a full-time receptionist. And Dave did not hesitate to bring Cindy over to be the full-time receptionist. And Cindy has been working over and beyond her duty as a receptionist. She even been working for me. Thank you. Thank you, appreciate it. Miscellaneous. Councilman Williams.
So really quick, I think Mr. Jerry, said it best. I think he's for the, Copeland project, but he wants to see the numbers and the health effects. I don't think there are any, but a lot of people that's their concerns. They want it to make sense for the city of Ferguson. And they want to see if there are going to be any health concerns to the citizens. So I think those are the two factors that people are concerned about. And so I think if the honor law group answer those with detailed information instead of a broad brush, I think people will feel more comfortable about the project. But this project can bring serious income to the city of Ferguson. You know, we're arguing which ward gets speed humps. I mean, that influx of cash would not be an issue anymore. But like I said, I think if the concerns, the health concerns and the actual financial numbers, people have privy to that, I think they might be on board. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman Williams. Councilman Palmer.
I did want to mention that I did just receive a message that John Hampton said that they have been working on getting property and to complete the pays years of time. And there has been a code there that's already been generated. Apparently, they're going to be following up again today about a 2 deadline to make some progress. So that's good to know that that's already been addressed. It also reminded me to mention that since John's not here, I do appreciate John serving as city manager on 2 occasions for the city and brings, you know, stability that we didn't have at the time to leadership within the city, doing both jobs of fire chief and city manager. So his work hasn't gone unnoticed for the last couple of years, as he hopefully finishes out his career here as a fire chief, which I think is probably what he's always wanted to do anyway. So thank you.
Thank you, Councilman Palmer. Councilman Franklin.
So I just wanted to start off by thanking the residents that came out tonight, those online, and then those that showed up last week for the Q&A. It was only an hour, and I know a lot of residents wanted to ask their own questions out loud. Hopefully that will happen down the road. But I just wanted to reiterate that as your elected councilman for Ward 2, and really all of Ferguson, in my opinion, I'm listening to the concerns of our residents. I'll tell you now, a development of this size, there's going to always be environmental issues. And, that common sense tells you that. I've got over 140 hours of natural science with my undergrad and graduate degree. And it's what I do for a living for St. Louis County. So I've inspected asbestos projects, C&D projects, waste facilities, even Bridgeton landfill. I've been there. And a lot of times people have the best intentions, things still happen. And public health pays that price. So I'm pretty firm on my stance, but I just want you all to know that I'm with the people of Ferguson, and I'm listening, and I'm hearing that you don't want this thing. And maybe we'll be able to change the mind of council. Maybe we won't, but either way, I'll do my due diligence, and I hope to be a part of any CBA agreement that we do reach as a council. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman Franklin. Councilman Kassoff.
It's late. I'm not going to hold anybody's bedtime up another minute.
Councilwoman Covington.
Okay, so normally I do say it's late, but I got some stuff. I want to make it very clear, I am the most laid back person. I'm respectful. I want to share a story with you. I got a phone call. I can't tell you by who. They made sure they blocked their number out. I encourage people to come to these meetings, come to the neighborhood meeting, call me, email me, but do not call me and try to bully me and tell me if I don't vote a certain way, you will recall me. If you do, please put 110% into whatever you call me about. I'm here to do a job, and that's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilwoman Covington. Councilwoman Morrow.
Because it's 9:55 anyway, so why not? The first piece of miscellaneous, again, I would like to ask city staff if, you all can work on similar initiatives for West Florissant as you did for South Florissant, the Revive Grant and the Disaster Grant. I believe in the talent here in Ferguson. I'm sure you all can put your brains together and, it may not be perfect, but whatever we can do. I heard you, what you said about the tenant. She is a tenant, I agree with Councilman Kassoff. We have got to be more proactive on these code enforcement issues. There are just too many, and these are serious issues. We are approaching the grass mowing season. We already know the properties that we're going to get reports on. We get the reports every year. I'm hoping that we can be proactive. I know staffing numbers are not where we would wish they would be, but we do have staff in place. There are a lot of lots that have been vacant for years that we know that we are going to have to mow. I understand that there's a process, but still, it's just about being proactive, right? And I say that as well to the overgrowth that has to be trimmed in areas. That is the city's responsibility. That still requires trimming. Residents do voice these concerns. Some residents are not going to report the concern via the report of concern tool, no matter how much I encourage them, no matter how many times I email that tool out, they will still call me and say, Councilwoman Noah, that's why we elected you to be the voice for us. That is just honest. I want us to make the best effort we can to build on the community partnerships. with the golf course. The golf course is in the back of Castro and Lagonda. Is that Belnor Golf Course?
No, it's
Norwood. Norwood, thank you. Norwood Golf Course. You know, build our relationship with the golf course. So when we have those concerns, we have a contact person and they have an understanding of what we need and the maintenance that is needed in that area. On West Florissant, the building that the young lady spoke about, you all stated the address, 91 West Florissant. And then there are a couple other businesses on West Florissant that I have been, you know, trying to get cleaned up for a couple of years now. Again, it's about that community partnership so that they understand. I mean, where don't they want the city to be successful? They have businesses in our city. The maintenance and appearance of our city is important to us, you know, and then it's about public safety as well. And there are health concerns. So I just look forward to seeing continuous resolutions when it comes to code enforcement, public works, and public safety concerns submitted, like, you know, derelict vehicles on the street, not just in the yard, but parked on the streets as well. I want to send a huge thank you to the Ferguson Human Rights Commission, Proud, St. Stephen's and the Vine for the community meal collaboration, but we could not have done it without, of course, the residents who attended, the people who supported, thank you all, and the Ferguson Special Business District businesses. Mr. Riviera's, King of Soul, Elicious, Red's, the one and only barbecue, Taste, Turkey Time, Nay's Twisted Treats. Please support Ferguson local businesses. And then, of course, the Ferguson Human Rights Commission members. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Tomorrow, we are going to have a Nesbitt Newton meeting, neighborhood meeting, at 6 p.m. at the Ferguson Empowerment Center, and the Forestwood Neighborhood Association meets every first Tuesday at 7 p.m. at Emmaus Bible Chapel. Thank you for the speed hump on Meadowcrest. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And one last question before I end. Does the city have a public list of all of the available parcels that have the structures on them for people to review? I know that there's a list without the structures, but is there a list with the structures?
I believe there is. I don't know how accurate it is, but I can email you guys and let you know. So we had one at one point. It's changed drastically, but I can look into it.
Okay. So I know things are going to take time. It's just an ask, you know, if we could work on that. Thank you to all of the staff. Thank you, Mr. Musgrave, new city manager as of April 1st. And thank you, Lavetta, for stepping in. And thank you, Sydney. And thank you to all of the Ferguson staff and the residents. Everyone be safe and well.
Thank you, Councilwoman Norm. Attorney Ryan.
Just echo my thanks to Acting Clerk London Pearson, Acting Deputy Clerk Eskew. Congratulations to Mr. Musgrave. Thanks to John Hampton. And I just want Dave to know that the fact that your contract is effective April 1st is just a coincidence.
It is. All right. Our finance director. Acting city clerk. London.
I just want to say congratulations, Dave, and thank you, council and mayor, for giving me the opportunity to learn and continue to grow in this role.
Congratulations. Well, city manager until April the 1st, Dave Musgrave.
I have a few notes that I just want to read real quick. They're brief, I promise. I want to thank the mayor and city council for the support and opportunity to serve as city manager. I do look forward to continue to work together with the residents of Ferguson and the community members. I want to thank my wife and my family for the continued support and understanding for the time and energy this position does require. I want to thank the Chief John Hampton and all city staff for their unwavering support and dedication to the city of Ferguson, the residents, and the community members. I do look forward to this opportunity. I'm excited for what the future holds for Ferguson. I did want to also update, there's been a lot of questions as far as the Chapter 100 goes. We are still talking to the professionals as far as negotiating those terms. We're putting in different clawbacks, environmental restrictions, all those things are being dealt with right now. We're hoping to update all the questions that were asked by email and in the public and have a list on our website in the next 2 days. I'm waiting on the final answers from Under and the other participants. And then my goal is to get those put on the website so everyone can go and read all the answers for every single question that was submitted. As soon as we have final numbers, final clawbacks, final environmental restrictions, all that stuff, we're going to get that on that same website as soon as possible so everybody else can view them and look at those things. And this process still has several more steps. So there's still going to be a public hearing. There's still going to be first reading, second reading of ordinance. So there are things in place that are going to be taking place over the next several weeks. We are going to try to be as transparent and just upfront with things as soon as they're finalized, as far as the proposition that's going to go in front of council so that everybody can look at that. So I just want to be upfront with that and let you guys know those things. But that's all I have tonight, Mayor.
Okay, I just want to hitchhike off that because a lot of people saying, oh, Ferguson Florissant School District was not at the Q&A and Jennings School District was not at the Q&A, and that is not true. Dr. Fields sat in that seat and his finance director was with him. Dr. Knight from Jennings had an invitation and she called me and said she was unable to make it. And we met and I went over everything we went. So those of you on Facebook saying that Jennings wasn't represented and the Ferguson Florissant School District was not represented, that is not true. You may not know them, but we know who they are. And they were the first ones who got a telephone call to be here. That's why I reserved those seats up front. In addition to that, I just want to say thank you to John Hampton. He has been city manager twice. And come to think of it, I had just was elected mayor in 2020 and he became the city manager. He and I worked very good together. And I just want to thank him to the point that anybody sit in this seat and you think you can make it without the city manager, you will be awakened out of your bad dream because it doesn't happen that way. You need the staff to work with you as the mayor and the council. And I want to thank John Hampton for his unwavering support of me as mayor. It has simply been phenomenal. And I really appreciate him. And I don't want anyone to ever think that he and I never had a knockout drag out. We fought many times, but we didn't tell it. It was no need to tell it because after we finished fussing at each other, we continued to work. And that's what it's all about. When you are in a leadership position, you're not going to always agree, but you must understand the number one function is the city and do the best job you can do for the city. And I must commend him on that. I just want to hitchhike off what you said and about being threatened and stuff. In the early 60s, in 1963, the Civil Rights Act was passed. No, it was passed in 64, and the Voters' Rights Act was passed in 1965. African Americans, we were known as Black folk, white folk, Asian, Jews, Gentiles. All of them paid a heavy price. A lot of them lost their lives for giving people the right to vote. And I remember when my mom and dad had the right to vote, they packed all 8 of us to the voting booth with them because they were proud that somebody fought for them to have the right to vote. It behooves me that the people in Ferguson try to use their vote as a carrot. If you don't do what I tell you to do, then I'm not going to vote for you. Shame on you. People paid with their life for you to have the right to vote, and to try to dangle that vote in front of somebody. Shame on you. I've had numerous of calls. If I don't vote the way people want me to vote, they gonna make certain that I don't win the seat for St. Louis County District 1. And like I say all the time, it doesn't matter to me what you do with your vote. But what matters to me is that you take very little care in your decision and your right to vote, what people have paid for their lives for you to have the right. And as I sit here tonight, and I will leave this seat, and like I say it all the time, you have a right to choose who you want to vote for. But if you think that you're gonna dangle your vote in front of me as a carrot and I'm gonna bend, that will not happen. I've been here 11 years. I didn't bend, I didn't bow, because the job that is for this seat is much, 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 much more important than people trying to tell you what to do. If whenever this seat comes available, if you're not an independent thinker and you think certain factions can run you, I advise you not to take this seat, because this seat is not about factions. It's about the people. It's about going to funerals. It's about going to birthdays. It's about being a servant leader to this community. The community is more important than the people who wants to run you. And if you allow people to run you in this seat, this city is doomed. At this point, I call for a motion and a second to adjourn.
Second for Covington.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it. Have a good night. It's been a long time. It's been a long time.